Morning, Paul. Felipe, this will be the last time I ever bring this up with you, I promise. Have you and your roommates discussed with the landlord how little to no rent you're going to give him for September?
Not yet.
I would bring that up. I would be sarcastic and rhetorical, and I would say, hey, can we just switch shoes for a second? If you were me, how much rent do you think I should have to pay in September?
Well, in September, I'd say you have to pay all of it. In August, I would say you get it.
Well, but the problem is this was their first month, and my guess is they had to pay it in advance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, here we are. We're at the middle of the month. I think you guys would be generous if you gave him half. But that's it. I'm done. Good luck.
Let's do a radio show.
Okay. Morning, Wancho, Coffin Bar, AJC.
It was hot, Paul. It was really hot. Left after the fifth. Murderously hot.
It was so damn hot this weekend.
And you guys weren't sitting under one of those overhangs either. There's no
in the shade. It didn't matter. That it doesn't matter. It's just hot. Literally dripping sweat.
None of that spray either.
No, I needed that Mr. Splash guy in the Orioles games there. That
here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope you had a great weekend. Glad you were starting your week off with us as we ask the question, how the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Magic numbers, they are dwindling. 12, 17, and 24 until the helmets and the shoulder pads come out in one form or another. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How was your weekend?
it was terrific, David. Good morning to you. How was your weekend?
It was slow. Probably the last slow weekend I'm going to have until late January. So I enjoyed it. I did as little as possible. A lot of laundry. There's a story behind that, but a lot of laundry. Yeah, that was maybe the highlight of the weekend. Hey, let's do another load of laundry.
Exciting stuff. Exciting stuff in the Moulton house.
That's how I roll. That's how we roll these days. No question about it. Yep. See, living in the same city as the daughter and the granddaughter, and they have a house, and the people who sold them the house and the inspectors and the real estate agent, well, they all lied to them. And so there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work properly. And we're a year and a half into this extravaganza. And one of them is, the water doesn't drain properly when you use the washer and the dryer. And so we've been doing their laundry for a little while. And, I haven't had a 1.5-year-old, but this just in, man, they go through a lot of clothes.
And the problem with the little ones, having a little, having a little one in my house is that, see, David, when you fill up a laundry basket full of our clothes,
right,
there's X's
right
in front of the letters on the back of the clothes, which means there are less clothes in said load to fold.
And Mark, in my case, there's 2 X's.
Right. See, when you get into the 2 T's, there's lots of stuff.
There's 412 pieces of laundry here, and I'm not even full.
You're folding for days, David.
Oh, my goodness. Plus, the wife folds differently than me, and, we do the laundry differently, and, it's just one of us does the laundry, the other argues over the dishwasher. I mean, they're major issues, Mark. 27 years of marriage, 30 was up for debate this weekend. It really was.
Boy, do you have to get out of town. Time for football to start.
We all came to that conclusion over this weekend. Who needs to travel? Well, as a matter of fact, next weekend, heading to D.C., preseason football. Can't wait. In fact, Mark, that was the only damn thing I cared about all weekend. I just needed to make sure that the Ravens' winning streak reached 24.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
They scared you. They frightened you. They made it difficult.
What is this up 7 mid-fourth quarter throwing the football? Come on, let's run the clock. Let's get out of here. They throw a pick 6. Eagles did the right thing. Nobody wants to tie in a preseason game. It's 400 degrees out here. We're going home. They went for 2. They didn't make it. Ravens held on 1 by 1. Whew. All right. I'm sure they'll promote, Lamar Jackson, Sam Howell, new owners, new era in Washington, blah, blah, blah. That's the important stuff a week from tonight. A 24-game preseason winning streak is on the line. 24 games. 8 years since they lost a preseason football game. That's there you go. That's what was important this weekend. Everything else, just details. Hey, people went to Lone Depot Park this weekend. Now, only about 700 of them were Marlins fans, but people found Lone Depot Park this weekend in Miami. Like 100,000 people went to the park.
They did.
For baseball.
They did. And most of the time, they left unhappy. They were happy on Friday night because the road team won, and let's face it, most of the fans at the game were rooting for the road team.
Right.
And they thought the weekend was going to go really well because they'd invested in tickets for the entire weekend. But
Correct.
It did not go very well for them on Saturday. And then Sunday, things were going along swimmingly.
Swimmingly. Like Michael Phelps in a pool. That's how well it was going. And then, Phelps decided to pass the baton off to, one more guy on the relay team. And, he swam like Miller or Moulton.
Right. They passed the baton to Van de Velde.
Right. On 18 at Carnoustie. Yep. Man. After the Rays had their little mini miracle Saturday night where they scored 5 in the last 2 innings to send the Guardians to a shocking defeat, the Marlins said, hey, we'll do this all in 1/2 inning, if that's okay with you. And the Yankees said, hey, can we help? Marlins said, sure, absolutely. This is the beauty of sports. This really is. So there's a Yankee fan that I'm pretty good friends with, and he sends me a text afterwards blaming Boone. I text him, I go, listen, the closer had given up 3 earned runs in his last 35 appearances, okay? 3 earned runs basically since Memorial Day. You want to blame the manager? Seriously. Come on now. I know Boone can't come out and just say, don't know what to tell you, my closers suck today. But his closers suck today. It's so funny. When fans get it in the head, when they want somebody gone, just don't let the facts get in the way.
Now they're even making fun. They want him out because he threw the nutty.
Right.
Of which he even said I looked like a fool doing, but it was fantastic.
First off, they love Billy Martin. They love Lou Piniella. Okay. By the way, you know how many world titles Lou Piniella won with the Yankees as a manager? That'd be 0. He won his world title with the Reds. Thank you very much. Yep. Love the fiery manager when you're winning. When you're losing, he's an idiot. Get him out of there.
Can't have them following that guy. He's not a leader.
if you're Aaron Boone, isn't that when you get back to the clubhouse, you call your wife and you go, "Hey, start calling the moving company." Why? Well, we just gave up 5 in the ninth and lost. This isn't going to end well. All right. I know the kids are going back to school soon because, the Northeast, they don't go for another 3 weeks. So it's like, no, we'll keep them in school. No, we can hang out. I won't get another job spring training's not till February or March or whatever. We can keep them in school.
If I'm even working this year, I
Right.
may take a gap year.
Yeah, I may.
How's Europe sound?
I was going to say ESPN and Fox may call, and I say, no, I'm good, really. I'm fine. I'm going to let the Yankees just pay me to be a dad. I'm good. I've seen enough. Huge win for the Marlins. Not a good day for the Rays yesterday. On and off the field. Not a good day for the Rays.
Not a good day?
Could be a catastrophic day.
Got that right.
Now, we're going to bring up a story if you haven't heard about it. It's potentially not very pleasant at all. It's also potentially false. Do need to keep that in mind. There was a similar story like this involving a Tampa Bay Lightning player very late in the regular season. That player was basically put on the suspended, restricted list, whatever, while the league and the team investigated. 5-6 days later, they came back and they said, nothing to this. Players reinstated. Sorry for the inconvenience. Let's move on. So that's what's going on with the Rays and only their best player. A very unseemly, rumored story, which has not been proven to be true.
However, he was pulled from yesterday's game. He left the dugout halfway through the game and did not join the team on their trip out west.
While the Rays and Major League Baseball investigate some salacious, to say the least, claims on the internet involving a 22-year-old athlete and an underage teenage girl. So very serious, and it happens to be the Rays franchise player for the rest of the decade. Oh, by the way, they lost their 3 back of the O's who won. Not a good week for the Rays. They were home for St. Louis and Cleveland, while the Orioles had to play 2 teams with a winning record in Houston and Seattle, and the Rays didn't pick up any ground. Not good when you're trying to overcome a 3-game deficit, 4 in the loss column in mid-August. But that'll all take a back seat to the investigation. So how was your weekend? Let's go back to talking laundry, shall we?
Certainly better than the Rays.
Woo!
And
Yeah.
they took 4 of their last 6.
Exactly. After a winning road trip where they won 3 series in a row. But man, oh man. Fun weekend. Golf, NASCAR, preseason football, college football realignment still out there in the wind. I wonder if Felipe, Mark, was watching, I don't know, was it on NBA TV? Was it on Turner? Where was the basketball? Was he streaming it? Watching the Basketball Hall of Fame weekend? Because Felipe just said middle of last week, I miss the NBA so much.
And that's how he said it too.
Just like
there
that.
was exactly like that with a tear streaming down his left eye.
Right. We attached an emoji to it and everything.
It's all good. The FIBA World Cup is starting this week.
Oh, see, just knew he had to find it somewhere. I will say, your buddy, D. Wade, his speech was great.
Yes, it was.
Final 2 minutes of his speech will bring a tear to your eye. Really will. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us, Miller and Moulton. It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call, Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets, while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It's an interesting question that Bianchi's show puts up here. Which Pro Basketball Hall of Fame inductee over the weekend will go down in history as the greater player, Wade or Nowitzki? It's a good question.
It is a good question. I mean, one is the third greatest shooting guard of all time, and the other is a top 5 power forward of all time. Because do you have Duncan and Malone over Dirk? Probably yes. Giannis will surpass Dirk. And whether or not you have KG over Dirk is up to you. Until Giannis finishes his career, he's the greatest European player of all time.
Who is?
Just the Bianchi show had a question. Who will be thought of as the greater player, Nowitzki or Wade? It's a good question.
Yeah, Parker said something nice. That him and Gasol said that Dirk was the greatest Euro of all time.
Until Giannis finishes his career, that will be true.
I'll take Dirk right now.
Over Giannis Antetokounmpo?
I'll take Dirk.
Interesting.
I'll be curious how long Giannis continue,
Do you take Duncan and Malone over Dirk?
I definitely take Tim Duncan.
Absolutely.
Malone and Dirk's games are so different.
I know.
They're both 4s, though, is why
I know.
I know.
God, Karl Malone's game now
Doesn't even translate.
people wouldn't even want him. It's ridiculous.
All right, KG or Dirk?
It's funny though. KG on the Celtics was a 5. KG, a lot of his time on the T-Wolves played 5. I would take KG because KG was an animal on defense.
Yeah, he was.
But
I think that's why I take Giannis. Just because he's probably the most athletic player we've ever seen. He's like modern Wilt.
it's funny, he can't even shoot.
No. But he can do
Tell you what though, he's playing in the right era. If he had playing in Karl Malone's era, Malone and Oakley and a couple of those power forwards would all those drives to the basket, they'd kill him.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Kill him.
He's pretty lengthy.
He only plays 58 games a year now. You know how many games he would have played if he was playing in that era? Oh my God.
Doesn't even get him against the Cartwrights and the, and the having to play a Rick Mahorn who just lived, just to hurt you.
Just golly.
Try to back down Mark Eaton.
Right.
The 4s and the 5s would have used their.
Well, you just put that forearm there for a brace.
And he's not moving.
Karl Malone stick that elbow in the middle of your spine. Oh my goodness.
Karl Malone was massive.
They'd use those 12 fouls on him. Oh my. Why do you think Jordan became the greatest mid-range jump shooter of all the time? He was tired of getting killed.
Yeah, Bill Laimbeer fam.
Interesting, DC. You'd take Dirk over at Garnett. That's a great question, though. Dirk clearly the better scorer.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. First full week of school, right? At least in the Sunshine State. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. And you know what? We're bringing in the teacher. We're bringing in the professor. We're bringing in the best we got for fantasy football tomorrow night. Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe, Crown Plaza, Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Dr. Roto with his yearly house call so that you can kick you-know-what, ace your exam, your midterm and your final. Yeah. Still room for you, which I have to admit, a little surprised. This time last year, this sucker was sold out.
And he's bothered. He's surprised and bothered. I'm going to let you in behind the curtain. It has bothered David. We've not sold out. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I wish it were sold out. I hope that we have a full house by tomorrow. There's still room left. But David has been angry.
I don't know about angry. I'm just unpleasantly surprised. I mean, the show's actually grown. Okay. I mean, we're still doing pretty well in the 239. We had people drive down from Charlotte County last year for the event. I mean, fantasy football's I'm not even the fantasy football player on the show. Okay. And I think that this is a hell of a thing we put together. How many of these are done nationwide? Like 4? I mean, honestly, we're bringing in a top 20 fantasy guy nationally. Help you out with your fantasy. Like you know more about fantasy football than Dr. Roto. Seriously. And I know how much time and money you guys spend on fantasy football. I just think this is a hell of a thing we're doing. It's almost like a public service. That's just how I look at it. I'm surprised. I am.
Tomorrow night, still time to sign up. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. 7 o'clock it starts. Dinner and Dr. Roto.
Yeah.
Your buddy got a couple puns you want to slip in there?
No. I'm not even going to use them. Nope. That was last week. Kids are back at school full time. No. It's just we're back in the grind. That's it. Back to normal. Nope. Nope. That's okay. You don't want to go. That's fine. That's fine. Where were we?
You need a road trip.
I'm going to get one next weekend. Next weekend. More injuries in football. By the way, Falcons cut a starting linebacker yesterday. That's got to be a shock to you, don't you? You're a young guy, started last year, made over 100 tackles. Hell, you had 4 tackles in like, a quarter in the preseason opener. And all of a sudden they tap you on the shoulder. They cut you.
Well, especially when you don't have to cut anybody for a couple of weeks now. They've set this up that you can keep your rosters pretty full until the end of preseason.
So, I mean, they did him a favor cutting him this early.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a nice thing to do, but I mean, what if somebody else gets hurt? But so anyway, there's a linebacker available. All right. Jadeveon Clowney, by the way, talking to the Jags today. And the Saints lost another running back over the weekend. I really think they should sign one. Just me. I mean, Kamara suspended the first 3 games. Just about everybody else on the roster's hurt. I don't know. Dalvin Cook, Kareem Hunt.
Well, they're trying to sign Kareem Hunt. He's not interested.
It's not even working out for him. When he showed word now was when he went to New Orleans, remember the Colts had called him before he walked in the door and said, whatever you do, don't sign. He said, hell, not only want to sign, I won't even work out. I just came down here for the jambalaya. How's your gumbo? So yeah, that's the only thing that counts this time of year, ladies and gentlemen. You want to, fret about how your team looked, or you want to pound the table and they put money on how your team looked. It's just fool's gold. It's August. Mark, what's the only thing that counts in the NFL in August?
Injuries.
Thank you, Mark.
Except for maybe in Tampa where there was an actual quarterback competition and Baker looked great.
So they say. They say there's a competition. All right. Most people, even heading into Friday, were like, I don't know. I know it's what he says, but. And then Baker said, well, if there is a competition, I really would like to put this to rest right now. Okay. I can play a little bit.
I'm done playing in the preseason, is what Baker said, basically.
Right.
I'll get back to the scrimmages and the practices, and we'll run the drills. And you can let Kyle Trask take as many snaps you want in preseason games because I'm the starter.
Right. When does the season start again? Thank you. I'll be there. So, Miller and Moulton. Did you watch any of the golf?
I watched almost all of the golf. Well, I watched the whole back 9 yesterday because there was a rain delay. So I actually went out and played 9 holes and came back and watched. I got home with Glover on 10.
Oh, a good deal. All right. Well, yeah, that's right. Because, the last 4-6 weeks you've been, Mr. Dad there, and daughter didn't sign up for any camps. She ruined your summer. And so you haven't played any golf at all. So you got to jam this sucker in before football season. Hope your course is back open. I mean, you got a lot of playing to do.
You're darn right.
So
tell that to my wife.
I don't want to come off as like a 12-year-old boy, but I felt badly for Lucas Glover because, well, it's hot. And Mark, as you like to say, Mark, how is it you run?
I run hot.
And most times when a guy runs hot, he runs hot where? Underneath the arm.
You got 3 or 4 key areas. You got your armpits.
Right. I would say that's the biggest.
One. That's the biggest.
Okay.
You can get a little back sweat going.
You can.
Or you can get what's commonly referred to as swamp butt.
And, well, Lucas Glover ran hot yesterday because they were in Memphis and it was
hot.
It was hot. And see, this is where you need someone to say to you, hey, I really care about you. And I know that it's going to be hot out, and you probably don't want to wear any dark clothing, but you need to wear navy blue or black pants.
How would that have been better?
Well, because I think it would have covered up the swamp butt a lot better. I think going with a softer tone outfit, I think would have made it worse. Okay, I think the navy blue and the black covers up you running hot better.
Interesting, David, because I've suffered from this disease known as swamp butt on many occasions.
Wow.
And I don't know if there's really a cure other than sitting in a freezer.
Well, once again, I don't think there was anything that could have cured it. I was just trying to mask the problem. That's all. I was just trying to mask it. And unfortunately for CBS, Lucas Glover was playing with the lead most of the damn day, so they kind of had to show him. And it was just, we're adults. I know. And we're watching and we understand right now it's 412 degrees outside and, we're all, but it's not the best look. I mean, it's tough to ever show that in your highlight reel. Congratulations, you won. Now, can we just get you for the front?
I was stunned how cool Fleetwood was running because he looked like the only guy. I mean, Rory's out there. He's a mess.
Right.
They all looked a wreck. And then here's Fleetwood, whose shirt's a little bit untucked, but looked as if he wasn't perspiring.
And not only that, he's from England, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
He grew up in partly cloudy in 63.
Thank you. Miller and Moulton breaking down the key developments of the sports weekend, also known as Swamp Butt.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call, Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets, while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How about Fleetwood? He's made $20 million on the PGA Tour. He's yet to win.
And he knows it. I mean, he can't make a putt on Sunday.
I mean, he's not Scotty Scheffler, is he?
No, but they're buddies.
Who was it? I didn't hear it, but was it Cole Nost or was it Immelman on Saturday who brought up and said, you have an 8-footer for your life. Who do you want to putt it, Rory or Scheffler? And the announcers were like,
It's a great question. I'd go Rory.
Whew. But I guess Scheffler on Saturday made like one putt over 5 feet all day. I mean, just missed a 2-footer. I mean, golly.
Well, is Rory in 5th place or does he have the lead?
If he has the lead, okay, I'd let Mark Miller putt it.
Ambient weekend was great. How about yourself? Saturday, I took a nap and went to bed early.
Ambient, my weekend was good. It was slow. Care to state what the problem is? By the way, baseball hasn't had a year this good in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, the races are all good. Attendance is fantastic, and the TV numbers are solid.
Right.
So what's broken, E?
I was going to say. Well, Paul, you're acknowledging that it's happening, yet you're saying it's not meaning much. That's the beauty of week 0.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Daniel Wallach will join us 2 hours from now. He's our sports gaming legal expert. He, along with his co-host on the podcast Conduct Detrimental, Dan Lust. All right. Because today's a big day. Today's the last day, Mark, that the Flagler folks there can appeal the court decision they lost about 6-7 weeks ago. And if they don't appeal it, well, the Seminole tribe can power up that app and go back to taking bets on sports. And we wonder, even if they do appeal it, can they take bets on sports until the appeal's heard, or will that be an injunction that, allows no sports betting in Florida until? So We'll talk to Daniel Wallach about that in a couple hours.
Try to get you an answer or two of how you're going to gamble this football season, legally or illegally.
And with that, it's time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
We are not joking around when we lead with this story. Rays all-star shortstop Wander Franco did not travel with the Rays to San Francisco last night. Major League Baseball is investigating social media posts claiming that the 22-year-old at some point in time has had a relationship with a 14-year-old girl. Franco did not play on Sunday, left the dugout in the 5th inning. He's in the second year of an 11-year, $182 million contract that has a $40 million option for a 12th year. This is not a joke. This is not a story in The Onion. Yesterday's promotion was Wander Franco Snapback Hat Day for fans, wait for it, 14 and under. Yikes. By the way, on the field, the Rays, who had won the first 2 games of the series against the Guardians, got whacked 9-2. They did take 2 of 3. Unfortunately for them, so did the Orioles in Seattle. Baltimore lost on Friday. Mariners had an 8-game winning streak, and then Baltimore won both games over the weekend, including 5-3 and 10 yesterday. Cedric Mullins robbed a homer in the 9th and then hit a 2-run homer in the 10th to win it. Baltimore leads Tampa Bay by 3 in the East. Seattle's a game and a half behind Toronto for the final playoff spot in the American League. Jays beat the Cubs 11-4 to prevent them from being swept at home by the Cubbies. The Cubs are a half a game behind the Marlins for the 6th seed. Why? Because Miami scored 5 in the 9th to beat the Yankees 8-7. The Marlins are the 6th seed as of this morning by a half a game over both the Cubs and the Reds. The Reds split a doubleheader with the Pirates yesterday, winning the nightcap 6-5 and 10. Yankees, by the way, with the loss, fall 5 behind the Jays. Milwaukee has quietly won 4 in a row, and they now lead the Central by 3.5 over both the Cubs and the Reds. Milwaukee swept the White Sox. 7-3 was the final yesterday. Carlos Santana with a 3-run homer. Mets scored 6 in the 5th to beat the Braves 7-6. Atlanta's lead is a mere 11 games in the East. Best record in baseball. Boston doubled up Detroit 6-3. Adam Duvall with a homer and 4 RBIs. Boston took 2 of 3 in the series. Red Sox, who got Chris Sale back on Friday, Trevor Story back last Thursday, looming 3 behind Toronto with Seattle right in between them. By the way, Twins took 2 out of 3 from the previously red-hot Phillies, 3-0 the final yesterday. Minnesota's lead in the Central's back up to 4.5. Phillies right now are the home wildcard team, the 4 seed in the National League. Mark, we thought the Marlins' 9th inning was impressive. 5 in the 9th to win. The Nats said, we'll take your 7-2 deficit and we'll score 6 in the 9th to win. Thank you very much. 8-7 over Oakland. Mark, this is the first time that 2 teams on the same day overcame a 4 or more run deficit in the 9th inning to win since July of 2010. Oh, wait, it gets better. The last 762 times that teams had trailed by 4 or more runs entering the 9th inning. 762 times. You know how many times they had won? 3. And yet the Marlins and Nats both did it yesterday. And you want to bet on sports. Ohtani homered his 41st of the year. He trails Olsen, though, the Braves, who's got 43, including another one yesterday. Ohtani's homer the difference. Angels beat the Astros 2-1 LA 6.5 back, however, in the wild card. Houston's 2.5 behind Texas, who lost in 10 innings in San Francisco 3-2. Patrick Bailey, the rookie catcher, hit a 2-run homer in the 10th to win it for the Giants. The Giants are the 5 seed in the National League playoff race. Dodgers' 8th straight win. Their lead out west is now 8.5. 8-3 over Colorado. And is it time to put a fork in the Padres?
Yes, David, it is, as a matter of fact.
They lost 2 of 3 to Arizona, who entering the weekend had lost 8 in a row, 5-4 Diamondbacks. Arizona's 2.5 games behind Miami, albeit they're the 9 seed right now, and only 6 make the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Padres are the 10 seed, 5.5 back of Miami. Yes, that's right. They'd only have to leapfrog 4 teams and 5.5 games. In golf, Lucas Glover goes back-to-back, winning the FedEx St. Jude Classic in a playoff over Patrick Cantlay. This is the first round of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Rory and Tommy Fleetwood both finished a shot out of the playoffs. Spieth and Max Homa finished 4 shots back, T6. Cam Smith won the LIV event in Jersey by 7. Phil was in second. He got to within 2 of Cam Smith early. He was 3 back on the 7th hole when he put 2 tee shots on the par 3 in the water. Phil finished T9. By the way, American Lilia Vu shot back-to-back 67s over the weekend to win the Open Championship by 6. American Allie Ewing had a 5-shot lead after 36 holes. She shot a pair of 75s to finish T6. Vu, that's 2 majors for her this year. She's the first woman to do that in 4 years. She's the first American to win 2 majors in the same year on the LPGA Tour since Julie Inkster in 1999. How about that for a year? NASCAR, Michael McDowell won on the Indy Road Course race to make the playoffs, his 2nd career win. So let me get this straight, Mark. If you could pick 2 tracks to win on in NASCAR, 2 tracks, what would you pick?
Daytona and Indy.
He won the Daytona 500 2 years ago, and now he won yesterday at Indy. It's his only 2 wins of his career. He's just the 6th driver in NASCAR history to win at Daytona and Indy. And the other 5 are a who's who of NASCAR. You know, Earnhardt, Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jarrett, Kevin Harvick. Oh, yeah. And Michael McDowell. Hello. Ross Chastain finished 17th. Eric Amarola finished last. Shane Vischer, the New Zealand driver there, he's leaving a year early. He's going to race full-time NASCAR next year. He's the guy who won that road course race in Chicago last month. He finished 10th. 2 races left until the playoffs in NASCAR. 13 drivers have won on the season. 16 make the playoffs. Basketball Hall of Fame weekend, a star-studded class. Greg Popovich, Tony Parker, Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Pau Gasol. Coaches Jim Valvano, Gene Cady, and Becky Hammond. Some great emotional speeches. Popovich's was way too long, but some great emotional speeches. If you could cue up the last 2.5 minutes of Dwayne Wade's speech and watch it, and if your eyes don't get wet, well, then you need to talk to somebody. Honestly. Dwayne Wade, who's Dwayne Wade Jr., had his father, Dwayne Wade Sr., stand up. And he talked to his father in a way that, well, it's tough not to get emotional. It was spectacular. Jim Harbaugh's deal with the NCAA got ripped up and thrown out. So much for the 4-game suspension, and we'll see you in October. Nope, he ain't going to be suspended at all this year. Now, apparently, he might get the death penalty next year. I don't know, but this year, he's good.
So he'll be there for that East Carolina UNLV Bowling Green Rutgers run or whatever the hell it was. I think I've got those 4 right.
I think you do too. The September gauntlet that Michigan faces. Yes.
Oh,
yep.
Murderer's row there.
He'll be there for all of it. And I think all of them are in the big house too.
They are.
Right. So here's the thing. Michigan, no one with Michigan's allowed to comment at all. They can't even acknowledge that the deal got ripped up. But the NCAA can say anything they want. And they released a statement. And in the statement, it says, this is about more than just a cheeseburger. I don't think that's ever been in an NCAA statement before. I'm going to go out on a limb. NFL news, Falcons cut starting linebacker Michael Walker. He's 25 years old. Man, what did he do? Who did he hunk off? Jaguars are working out Jadeveon Clowney. Colts expect Jonathan Taylor back in camp today. Here's the funny thing, though. Apparently, he's still hurt. He's still rehabbing, and he still swears he's never going to play for the Colts again, and you're going to have to trade me. Yet they made sure to tell everybody he was coming back to camp today. I don't know. Sounds like a distraction to me. Saints running back depth, they say it's being tested, Mark. That's because Keandre Miller suffered a knee injury over the weekend. He's the guy who was going to back up Kamara. Oh, yeah, who's not playing the first 3 games because he's suspended. And the reason he was the backup is because the guy they had as the backup tore his Achilles, and he's out. And so there's Kareem Hunt sitting at home going, sure you don't want to pay me what I asked for? The Eagles lost core special teamer and backup linebacker Sean Bradley to an Achilles injury. He's out for the year. And Green Bay lost their backup tight end and key special teamer Tyler Davis to an ACL injury. So he is out for the year. Remember, no Tanyan in Green Bay this year. He left. And at 9 minutes before the hour, gentlemen, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I didn't put any news in there about conference realignment. Technically, while we were gone, it became official that the ACC is not going to take in Cal and Stanford. The 4 teams blocking it got named, Mark, after our show on Friday. Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and NC State. They're the 4 that said absolutely not, no way. So they were 1 vote away.
You mean the Atlantic Coast Conference is not taking a team in the Pacific Coast?
Well,
unacceptable.
Big Ten's got 4 teams on the West Coast. Closest team to those 4 is in Lincoln, Nebraska, which, by the way, is about the farthest eastern point of Nebraska you can get in. But yes, those 4 schools said, wait, it says Atlantic Coast Conference. So or were you trying to make us the APCC? Is that what we're going to be, the Atlantic and Pacific Coast Conference?
It is amazing. They would have basically had all their teams in one time zone except.
Right. These 4 right here.
Right.
Just make it the CC.
But what should be noted is that in recent years, schools that have blocked expansion efforts by conferences, oftentimes shortly thereafter have ended up leaving said conferences. You can go all the way back to the Big East, all right, in which Syracuse and BC and what have you blocked Big East expansion, and then a year later went to the ACC. I mean, there is a long history. Oklahoma and Texas have stood in the way of Big 12 expansion, and then they left.
Well, I've got to think if you wanted to blow up a conference, adding more members to it isn't in your best. Florida State's still trying to blow this thing up. Make no mistake.
But remember, wasn't it just the North Carolina AD a week ago who publicly scolded Florida State?
And didn't I tell you, David, it was the North Carolina AD, not the North Carolina president? And there are some decisions that are made over athletic directors' heads. And leaving a conference is not something that an athletic director is in charge of, no matter how much they think that they are.
So you go out there and you say bad words about them Knowles, but I'm in bed with them right behind you. Just make sure you keep my name out of it.
Miller and Moulton. Fantasy Football Summit is a day away. Thanks for listening to the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. Vast selection of certified diamonds, priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, I know you can't hear the clip that Mark just played, but clip just came out from China. James Harden saying, quote, Daryl Morey. Yeah.
Yeah. I played it too. Yeah. How about that?
How about that?
Let me say that again.
Yeah.
For those of you in the back who may not have heard it.
Oh my goodness.
Ambien, I'd be in jail because I would have shot the 22-year-old. I don't know how many damn times I can explain this to you. One's an adult, the other is a goddamn child. If it were my daughter, I'd be dead. I'd be in jail for life because I'd kill the MFer. Okay? Can I explain that any more clearly to you? There is no way in this world. This is not 1842. Okay? We're not in India with arranged marriages. No, it can't. There's no way for a 22-year-old and a 14-year-old for it to be right. It's not.
It's criminally, it's statutory right. It is. And if you don't see that,
it's actually against the law. You know,
that's a you problem. By the way, Wallach just canceled.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot.
I know. took him on Saturday just for this reason. Yeah. Either Franco we're never going to see him again in professional sports for sure. And, or there's nothing to it. And it's just a family who's trying to blackmail him for money, which there is a social media post out there claiming that, by the way. It's not in English, it's in Spanish, but there is somebody who posted that this is actually something that's not that uncommon in the Dominican and other places where there's oftentimes, attempts at blackmail, and that's what's going on here. So that's why it's being investigated. Yeah, Ryan, right now it's online, but when a team starts pulling him from a lineup and then not making him available to talk and then not having him travel with the team, and Major League Baseball comes out and says they're investigating, it becomes a story.
10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Magic numbers are 12 days until week 0. Notre Dame's playing Navy and Ireland. USC's in action. That's a couple of top 15 teams at the very least. One of them likely USC to be in everybody's top 10. 17 days away from the Gators in Utah, from UCF playing their first game with that Big 12 logo on their jersey. And it's just 3 weeks from Thursday, man. 24 days away, Lions and Chiefs getting it on. Less than 4 weeks away from the Dolphins and Bucks kicking off their season. It's 4 weeks from tonight, the Jets and the Bills, Monday Night Football. So we are doing this. Hope you had a great weekend. First full week of school for everybody in Florida. Continue to just, take it a little slower on the roadways, school buses and traffic and all. Just, a few more days. Everybody get used to the routine again, where we're going, who's going where, when. And then, you can go back to blowing the horn at whoever you don't like again. So,
are you a horn guy?
I was, and I'm being brutally honest here, and I'm 99.9% honest anyway. But with the proliferation of guns in this country, I'd never blow unless you're about to hit me, and unknowingly, in which
right.
I don't use the horn anymore, and I'm not kidding. I assume
not even the friendly beep at a yellow when they're down staring at their phone.
No, honestly, I'll just sit there. It's like, it's just a light. I listen to the radio. I'm not playing around.
I know
I'm not joking at all. I assume everybody in the car has a gun and they're in a bad mood.
It's a safe assumption. It keeps you out of the most trouble.
That's how I drive. It's unbelievable. Before it would have taken a subpoena for me to let you into traffic. No, I'm going. It's my right of way. I've got places to go, people to see, things to do. The hell with you. That's how I was till about 35. Now I'm damn near getting out of my car, stopping all the traffic behind me, waving people in. Hey, you, fourth car. And oh yeah, come on. No, you can go. Yeah. No, don't worry about it. Take your time. Get your change, and you got your donut and your coffee. No, take your time. Come on. We're good.
It's true.
Honestly.
It's true in Florida, though. It's a dangerous game, honking at people. I mean,
it's not just Florida, man. It is, and I travel the South a lot. I just Honestly, I am your best friend on the roadway. I really am. I've been hit twice in the last few years. I get out, look at the car, and go, "That's not bad. You okay?" Yeah. Oh, no, take it easy. It's all good. It's all good. I'll take care of it from here. Don't worry about it. You okay? How's the wife and kids? Everything all right? No.
And you were safe to say you were an offensive driver up until a few years back.
I had a 3-iron in my back seat. I took it out. I took it to the windshield of a guy in Fargo, North Dakota, 25 years ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now you're playing a 2-3 zone and you're packing it in.
It might even be a 1-3-1. Okay. And it's a half-court trap, and I want as many spaces on the court as possible. Yep.
And really all that half-court trap is to let someone else in.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I've got somebody by Curry at all times, but otherwise there's holes everywhere. Yes. I do have a putter, though. I do have a putter in the car, just in case. Because, when the guy comes at me with a gun, I'm thinking, my zebra.
Grab the putter.
My zebra should have a good effect here.
Right. You'll deflect that thing like a Jedi, a blaster.
Exactly.
Yeah, just pew, pew.
Right.
Sensei David.
But you asked me, and that is the God's honest. I just assume A, everybody's got a gun, and B, they're in a bad mood. I'm like, no, pull out. It's fine. Because first off, nobody behind you, even if they're annoyed, even if they beep the horn at you, I don't think they're going to shoot you because you let somebody in. But I do think there's a chance you get shot if you don't let them in. Okay, so that's why I'm just like, no, it's good. No, it's good. I did. I rolled down the window the other day and just motioned the woman. She just, I don't know. I don't think my windows are that tinted, but she couldn't see me waving her through. I'm just like, I got to take care of this. I assume grandma's got a gun too. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I don't just look at the person behind the car and go, they're probably not packing.
But you're convinced they leave it in the car when they go to Publix and they've got 14 items in the 10 and under.
I just assume everybody's got a gun and they're in a bad mood.
No, but you will still call someone out in the 10 and under line for having more than 10 items.
Oh, no, I'm willing to get shot over that. No, I am.
Just hoping that they have the gun in the car and you can get back to your car in time.
So I was at a grocery store over the weekend, and actually twice. And once I just went in to grab a few things. And actually it was Friday after the show, and I had 12 items. And of course it's 10 items or less. So I go to the regular aisle because I have 12, and you're only allowed in the other one if you have 10 or less.
Sign definitely says it. It's really easy to read.
Right.
And you and I do assume, and that's dangerous, that most everybody can count to 10.
Right. And yes, I need reading glasses nowadays, but that's big enough that I could go, it says 10. All right. They haven't changed it since the last time I was here. And so the person in the 10 item, that she had no one to wait on. And I was like third in line in the normal one because they only had like one of those lanes open. So this was like the only place you could go if you had more than 10 items. And so she says, "Hey, I'll take you." And I went, "Oh no. And she goes, no, you can come." I go, "Absolutely not. No." I tapped the person on the shoulder in front of me, okay, who had like 104 items. And I said, "Hey, she'll wait on you over there." And he looked at me and I go, "I don't know what she tell you." She said, "Next one in line." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And he takes his 104 items in the 10 item or less lane and he starts going through it. Oh, no. Because all I need, somebody snaps a picture of me with 12 items in the 10 item or less line, my life's over.
It would be.
Totally. Because you can't explain that away. Well, there was nobody in line, and she said, "Come on over." Not after the stance I took.
You've drawn your line in the sand, sir.
I'm a principled man about not much, by the way, but 10 items or less, absolutely. That and handicap parking. Oh, my goodness. I'll get shot if somebody parks in a handicap spot who shouldn't be there, chastising them all the way in the door. And if they turn around and blow me away, just know that it was probably because they parked in a handicap spot.
I always question the cars. You know, there was a 911 Porsche Turbo in a handicap spot. And I just wonder how that person can get in and out of said car.
You know how low that thing is?
But yeah, and they've got their sticker. They can park there. I saw it clearly hanging in the windshield. But I was like, that seems like a difficult car to get in and out of.
That in theory, if you can get in and out of it, you're probably not the definition of handicapped, right?
And maybe you are. And who am I to make that determination? That's for a doctor, and
right.
Okay. Maybe they can't walk that far. Maybe they can clearly get in and out. But I was just like, the 911 Turbo in the handicap spot just seemed odd to me.
It does seem like a contradiction, doesn't it? Kind of like the minor league team that calls themselves the Jumbo Shrimp. Huh.
I even took in a minor league baseball game over the weekend.
I know. I was waiting for one of the two of us to be hit by a lightning bolt.
After I'd sworn off this team because of their name.
Correct. And their name and logo, you swore them off. You'd never go again. It's been like 4 years.
But it was a promotion where if you buy tickets, the school gets money. It was all done through the school. So the wife bought the tickets. I could have just gave the money. Would have been a lot easier for me.
Well, I don't understand. I mean, didn't you explain to her? You go, honey, I'm a public figure. Okay. I have sworn off going to this team's games. I mean, I publicly chastised them. I cannot go to these games. It's bad enough that some of my household income is being used to purchase these tickets, but it's for the school, blah, 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 blah. But I can't go. I hope you understand.
I had no shot. She just looks at me when I make a public stance, when she thinks, and she first off tells me you're not that big of a deal. I don't care.
Well, I mean, our wives are right about that.
There's no doubt. And then not to mention it's 106 degrees with a heat index of like 160. And I am melting at this place. It was hot.
Lucas Glover melting, or?
I wasn't that bad.
Okay.
I don't know if I've been that bad in a long time because Lucas Glover had a serious case of swamp butt going on. But yes, little minor league baseball. First time I've been back there since the name change.
Right. And you weren't happy about it. How'd you feel about paying $10 to park?
Delightful. They don't take cash anywhere either, David.
But they do to park.
No.
Well, they did a month ago.
They prefer credit card. Says it right there.
I understand that. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, here you go. Here's a $10 bill. Take it or I'd pull in for free.
Yeah, I was afraid they'd back me right out if I tried to pay cash. I was very intent. These, young people get around to bet and they don't have cash. They might feel, Felipe might feel intimidated every once in a while when we start bringing how much in your wallet. All I know is when it's cards only, I get intimidated.
See, that was your chance, by the way. I can't believe you didn't realize that. That was your opening to get kicked out. Okay, you're in the car with the wife and the daughter, okay, and you give the $10 cash and they say no. You go, well, honey, we got to leave. They won't let us in. No?
You make it sound so easy. As if you can just look at your wife and say, hey, I'm going to ruin the family's night out because I'm going to be a blankety blank.
Well, listen, how about you two get out and you go, okay? There's a pub right around the corner. You guys call me when you're finishing up. I'll come back and pick you up.
I will say the daughter, I love her dearly. She looked at me. She goes, I'd rather be at a Rays game. Yes, so would I, honey. So would I. Miller and Moulton.
Hey, tomorrow night, it's our fantasy football summit. You don't want to be anywhere else. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com. It's dinner and Dr. Roto. Win your fantasy league. Kick butt in your fantasy draft. Use his information. It's really good. He wins a lot of money with his information. How about if you do too? It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call, Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Want to come back with do the Harden thing? We'll do Harden and play of the day.
Yeah.
Hey, you know me. I'm not joking around. I honestly, I don't know when it was. It was 10, 12 years ago. I don't know when it was, but I literally had a transformation. I don't know if it was reading too many stories or just I just came to I'm like, no, you can cut in. You're good.
I will say I don't use it as much as I used to. I almost got hit the other day. So, I mean, just exactly what you're talking about that someone made a lane change and did not see me in the middle lane. That scared me. But I will do I've done the beep beep, and I think it's got to be two. Like it can't be one long one. You got to
kind of like the cartoon.
Yeah.
Something cute.
You're looking at your phone, the light screen.
Right.
I do get a kick out of, and I wasn't going to go there because I don't think you should promote the fact you're at church on Sunday, but I do get the biggest kick out of people because you have to let someone in at church. And when you don't, what are you actually saying about yourself?
You feel like if you're in the car with somebody, they're about to pull a Dana Carvey and go, "You're Satan." That is a good point. It's probably no better parking lot in the world than the church parking lot on Sunday because it goes just as it's supposed to. 1, 1, 1, 1.
And if it goes 2, everybody's like, "What the?" Felipe, do your parents make you go to church when they come for the weekend?
Yeah, or when they came here, no. But when I go there,
so you didn't have to go yesterday morning?
No, thank goodness. I was so tired. Because Saturday night I come home and it's midnight, but it's like, all right, well, it's time to go out or do something. It's time to drink, and then I'm up till 2, 3 a.m. And then I either sleep in or wake up early. But in this instance, the parents were in town, so I woke up early.
How are they?
They're great. It was a great weekend.
Good. That's awesome. Did you give them the tour of the TV station?
No, I did not. I should have.
Really?
I should have. I wanted to, but they wanted to clean my house instead. So. But no, they said
What
they
are
want
you so stunned about over there? Ambient, I'm fine. It's just there are lines that to me you don't cross. That's one of them. They wanted to clean his house. Is that where you're still at?
You couldn't give them a break? Just
No, and they're like, "Hey, Felipe, this house is dusty. You need to hire a cleaning crew." I'm like, "I don't need a cleaning crew. I'm renting this house. I don't own this."
Mom, it's 87 degrees in here. I'm a little concerned about other things. I'll get to the dust, and we're trying to melt the dust, actually, Mom. It's what we're trying to do. We're trying to turn a negative into a positive.
Right.
You got to take them to the.
Oh, I will.
You got to take them.
They want to come back soon because they want to kayak through the Estero River. I showed it to them and they were like, "Oh wow, that's really pretty. We should do that."
Does Grandma come or no?
No.
Okay.
Mom, dad, brother, and brother girlfriend.
Oh, brother's got a girlfriend.
Yeah, brother's got a girlfriend.
It's a lot of pressure off of you. He's older.
He's older, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh.
You know what it's not really an issue just because I've gotten better and she's gotten better as well. She doesn't speak English. She barely speaks English. She's from Argentina. So there's a language barrier, but we understand each other.
Hey.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. That's where you can go to sign up for our Fantasy Football Summit tomorrow night. Fort Myers. There's one table left, I'd say. A big table. One table left. Why don't you sign up? floridasportsnetwork.com. Dr. Roto and dinner gets you ready for your fantasy football drafts and your fantasy football leagues. Play of the day coming up in about a handful of minutes. You know, we don't normally get breaking news during our show. It's too early. Remember, we used to do afternoons? Afternoons are the best. I mean, stuff happens between lunch and mid-afternoon. Guys get hurt in morning practices. They get mad. They get fired. Nobody gets fired at 8 a.m. Usually wait till like 10.
Yeah, we're lucky to get a firing in the bonus hour occasionally. Sometimes between 9 and 10, we'll get something. Every once in a while, we'll have some breaking news when we're off of the syndicated portion of the program and on just locally in the 239.
But fortunately, James Harden's in China. There's a time difference, see? And so James Harden's making sure he's making the evening sports center over there. So the Sixers yesterday made sure to let everybody know, yeah, we're not trading James Harden. You know, I know he wants to be traded. I don't know what to tell you. We tried. The deals that we were offered sucked, and we're not going to do it. So we expect him at camp next month. And, you know, we still want James, and we think we can work this out. Mark
Harden was in China today at what looks to be like a basketball camp.
Right. Some sort of event based around him and only him.
Right.
He has control over everything, pretty much.
Considering his name's on the court.
Right.
That I could see speaking, basically, he's at the free throw line. It says James Harden behind him. There's cameras everywhere. And James Harden said the following: Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be part of an organization that he is part of. Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be part of an organization that he is part of.
And that's not Mark Miller saying, let me say that again. That's James Harden saying, let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of any organization he is.
We probably could have played the audio for you. It's very echoey. It's a little loud, and it would have sounded horrible on radio.
For the record, Daryl Morey's like the president and general manager of the Sixers. That's who James Harden currently plays for and doesn't want to play for anymore. And what's interesting is that Morey was president and GM in Houston, and he's the one who traded for James Harden and gave James Harden a ton of money. And then he went to Philly, and when James Harden went out of Brooklyn, he traded for him again. All right. And he still gave him a lot of money and wanted to give him more. And Harden said, no, I'll take less years, less money, because I don't know if I'm going to stay here long term. So Daryl Morey loves James Harden. And I guess it's fair to say James Harden's done with Daryl Morey. Mark, whenever it's bad enough when sports talk show hosts say, let me say that again. But when somebody in professional sports goes, hey, for those of you in the back who may not have heard me, let me say that again. This guy sucks and he's a liar. And I'd rather be lit on fire than have anything to do with him again. I will say, Harden looked, for him, compared to the way he played last year, almost svelte in these pictures. To me, he's wearing white and he looks thin. That's tough to do, wearing white.
And it was his agent that came out late last week, said he's in the best shape he's ever been in. Tough to believe anything coming out of the Harden camp.
Yeah.
And he didn't he just sign his player option to play in Philadelphia, by the way?
But he did that to get traded.
Right. But then Philadelphia took him off the trade block.
Yes,
Morey is a liar.
Right.
And I will never be a part of any organization that he is part of. Let me say that again.
Those of you in the back may not have heard me the first time.
It's on. Hello.
This is for Wojnarowski, who's back in Bristol, in case you can hear me. May want to retweet this.
And again, this is in China, in front of a predominantly Chinese audience, and even they understood what he was saying. They were like, oh.
Damn. James Harden's throwing down. So it's we did this for Felipe and for you. It is breaking news. It'll probably be talked to. I mean, come on. We're on.
First take, get ready.
Yeah. I mean, we're on 4-letter and 3-letter networks. So, it'll be talked about on both, but definitely on the 4-letter network. So we just wanted to say this is why they're talking about it. And Felipe, who was in tears last week, he missed basketball so much. We thought we'd give him some legitimate basketball news. So there.
And now he'll give us some legitimate highlights. What do you have for us? It's time for the play of the day, Felipe.
I think you all know what I have for you. The Marlins had probably the greatest win of the decade for them. Down 5 in the bottom of the 9th inning. They rally. They score 4 off of Luis Arias triple. Jake Berger with an opportunity to close it out.
Can they walk him off? The 2-1 pitch to Jake Berger is swung on! Line drive! Left field! There's some magic in Miami! Jake Berger with a walk-off winner for the Marlins! They score 5 times in the bottom of the 9th inning! Oh, they're going crazy!
Were they really going crazy, or were the Yankees fans all leaving?
Well, not only that, but the Marlins fans were all leaving because I mentally checked out of the game as well. I was at work.
It was 7-2 going to the 8th. They score a run in the 8th. It's 7-3 going to the 9th. The Yankees bring in their closer, who had given up 3 earned runs in his last 35 appearances. Now, there was a big error in that inning. Marlins had the bases loaded, 1 out, and they hit a comebacker. And if the pitcher fields it cleanly, it could have easily been a 1-2-3 double play. Game's over. He not only botches the catch, he then throws it away. And then Arias with a triple down the line ties it. and now he's the winning run at third. Boone did catch some heat, though, even from the broadcast booth, Mark. Paul O'Neill in the booth questioned, why in the world did you pitch to Berger? You had a base open, and Berger, I guess, had already had 2 or 3 hits. He's been hot since the Marlins acquired him, and there was 1 out. And O'Neill was like, how did you not walk him and set up the double play? He goes, I don't even understand why they pitched to him. But I think Boone was in shock, so he forgot. At that point, he just stopped managing.
Pretty sure Fire Boone was trending on Twitter last night.
That's the second time this year the Marlins have come back from 4+ runs down, which is pretty impressive to do.
Magic in Miami. Kyle Seeloff on The Voice, by the way. Regular guest of the show.
And it was the one I knew you were going to go with. If you get a chance to hear the Nats comeback call, their play-by-play guy, what does he call it? The wiggly, what is it?
And put the curly W in the books.
But he gets the curly W in the books and then chastises his own fans. If you went home early from this one, you blew it. It's tremendous.
How dare you? It's 114 degrees out and it's 7-2 going to the ninth. How dare you?
And you're playing the A's.
And you're in last place for the moment, although they're going to overtake the Mets by like Wednesday. Mets are going to finish with like the 5th worst record in baseball. 400 million just doesn't get you what it used to, Mark.
Got to have a closer, David. At the end of the day, you've got to have a closer. Everything revolves around that.
Well, then even when you have one, sometimes they give up 5 in the 9th. Those blankety blanks. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for waking up with us. Hope you had a great weekend. Glad we're starting the week off together here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call, Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets, while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How long into the season? I'm lucky. It was brutal a few years ago. It was Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And you got to November of that schedule, and that was hard. But now it's just Saturday, Monday. It's, even if a flight gets delayed or canceled, I mean, you're traveling Friday, you're traveling Sunday, you're traveling Tuesday. I mean, really there's only one tough spot of the whole weekend, and it's the Tuesday morning radio show. That's all, because it's a 3.5, at most 4 hours of sleep.
And he doesn't really want to take him off. And at the same point, it would suck to, because part of the point of having the guy do Monday Night Football is to be able to come do the show on Tuesday.
And also, it's football season. I mean, come on. It's difficult to be a sports talk show host and take off September through January. Right.
Or Mike Tirico, or you get the idea.
Although Greeny's going to have a harder time now because he's not doing the NBA.
Well, he said he came on for a bit and said basically starting in September, he's not missing any shows.
Yeah, well, they took the NBA gig away from him. Plus, come on, I mean, he wants to shove the Jets down everybody's throat for 4 months.
It's one of the reasons I want him to be bad.
Yeah, the Mets in the one game they lost 21-3, threw it down like, what was it, 12-13-0. They threw in the position player. And the Braves said, well, a chance of better stats. Listen, if you're a Mets fan, you're rooting for them to lose now. Okay? The only way they keep their high draft pick is if they finish in the bottom 6. And right now they're 6th. If they finish 7th, they get dropped an extra 10 spots as a punishment for spending so much money. So all the Mets have to do is lose a couple more, and they got the 5th worst record in baseball. I'd take a top 5 pick.
Did you see Pittsburgh yesterday? Was it yesterday? They got their coach, batting coach, and pitching coach all ejected on the same play.
Yankees had a hitting coach ejected on Saturday. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us on this Monday, first full week of school in Florida. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Sign up for our Fantasy Football Summit tomorrow night. Do so at floridasportsnetwork.com. The summit is brought to you by the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. So, Mark, you're on a bit of a roll, and I don't even know if you realize it. Middle of last week, when the conference realignment was still going fast and furious, you said, all right, you think the ACC is going to blow up by Tuesday? And I said, yeah, actually I do. You said, come on. Not going to blow up by Tuesday. Tomorrow's the deadline, by the way. That's why Mark said Tuesday, because tomorrow's the deadline. If you want to leave the ACC a year from now, you got to raise your hand. by tomorrow. Well, it does seem all quiet on the westward front there, in which it's not going to happen. Looks as if the last bit of news is the ACC not officially voting because, well, you don't officially vote until you have the votes. And the ACC didn't have the votes to let Cal and Stanford in because Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and NC State are the 4 no votes. So the unofficial vote is 11-4, and it needed to be 12 or more. So they're blocking Cal and Stanford joining the ACC. Oliver Luck was hired by the Pac-12.
By the Pac-4. No. That's who they are. No one else is hiring him.
That's true. Although technically, I think as punishment, whatever his fee is, does get split up amongst all the remaining schools. And until a year from now, they are the Pac-12.
I saw a great tweet about Luck getting hired by the Pac-4. Said it's like hiring a doctor when you should hire a mortician.
So he and apparently, well, a couple of conference commissioners, they're discussing merging. An alliance, maybe. Hopefully that'll go a little better in the PGA Tour LIV alliance. Maybe they'll put a few more things down on paper. Everybody will know what the details are. But we'll see where they end up. Could end up in the American. Could end up in some sort of a bunch of teams leaving the Mountain West for the Pac-4/8/10. Never to be 12 for a while again. So that seems to be for this year. If any news is made that that's going to be it. That this Florida State, Clemson, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore and we want out of here. That they're going to have to swallow hard and figure it out next spring.
Translation, Greg Sankey wasn't lying. They didn't have the deal in a drawer. And they couldn't get the deal in a drawer in an early enough time to get out of the ACC.
Listen, my schedule makers worked really hard on the 2024 schedule, and we don't want to rip it up. Okay? So if you want to join us for 2025, that's fine. And by then we may, because I still have to figure out, are we playing 8 conference games or 9? So if you can decide whether or not you're coming before I can figure out whether we're playing 8 or 9, then I can get my schedule makers to know what the heck they're doing. So that seems to be where we're at. That's number one. Number two, you've had a hell of a week. Because Mark Miller, for at least 10 years, has been pounding on the table, I want computers to call balls and strikes. And these are the dog days of summer, and everybody's tired and cranky in baseball, and it's hotter than the And, well, umpires and sometimes their AAA fill-ins are missing more pitches than they normally do, and the hitters are not in the mood. Neither are the managers and the hitting coaches, nothing.
It's one of the more unusual quirks in sports. You can argue everything with the officials. You can argue every damn thing there is. Block charge, pass interference. There's not a call that you can't argue in sports with the exception of balls and strikes. One or the other is going to be called on every pitch of every game played in a sport, but you can't argue it.
And of course, now you got the broadcast and they all have the box. That's the supposed, that's the strike zone. And, so yeah.
Twitter accounts that literally keep track of every missed call that's made and by how much, and will let you know which umpires suck the most.
Sandy Alcantara pitched so well, or Alcantara, however it is you want to pronounce it, pitched so well on Saturday that he was able to throw a complete game 5-hitter with Angel Hernandez behind the plate. That's how well he pitched. The only run of the game that the Yankees had, they shouldn't have had, because Alcantara struck the guy out. I mean, with a pitch that above the knees, right down the middle of the plate, ball. Next pitch, RBI single. Honestly, he threw like a 3-4 hit shutout. Angel said, no, come on. You're not going to have a shutout. Not with me behind the plate, you're not.
All right, while I'm having a good week when it comes to the balls and strikes and a computer calling balls and strikes at some point, do you see it happening anytime soon?
I really think Manfred, because he's on a roll, he's had a great year. Attendance is up 10%. That's a big deal. 10%.
It's huge.
10%. That's a lot more people at the games. Marlins just had the biggest 3-game series they've ever had in that ballpark's 12 years old. They had 100,001, by the way. 100,001 fans went to that ballpark for a 3-game series. Doesn't matter if 60% of them were Yankee fans.
Knew what that number was before the Sunday game, did they? Amazing. It got to what did that get to for the weekend?
100,001.
Okay.
Just saying. Listen, 1, 4 zeros, and a 1. There you go, bookends. You know what it was? It was a double stuffed Oreo. See, instead of just 2 zeros in the middle, it was 4 zeros in the middle.
So the daughter asked for Oreos yesterday when I ran to the store. I pretty much took down the entire box myself.
Regular or double stuffed?
Regular. We're a regular Oreo household.
Has she had double stuff? Have you let her have the goodness that is a double stuffed or no?
She's had it.
Okay. All right. But anyway, Major League Baseball's on a roll, and the rule changes to speed the game up is being given a lot of credit. Rob Manfred's taken 25 to 30 minutes off of the games. People seem to like it. 3+ hours has turned into 2:35. The 7:10 starts over at 9:45. Everybody seems to like it. Hell, the Giants, if they didn't blow a ninth, the Giants had 1 out in the 9th yesterday against Texas in 1 hour and 54 minutes. Now, it was a 1-0 game, but still. I mean, we played 3-hour 1-0 games not that long ago. So baseball's on a roll. People love the pace. They're going. TV ratings are up. You got teams who haven't been competitive for years that are being competitive this year. All right, baseball's on a roll. Well, guess what Rob Manfred wants? Rob Manfred wants computerized strike zones. And he's been testing it out in the minors. And it's real. The system that I think they're going to do, Mark, and I don't know what league is doing it in. I don't know if it's that Atlantic League, which is where they seemingly are trying everything.
Well, I was at a Florida State League game. They were able to challenge a pitch and then overturn the call on a striking ball. So that was the first time I'd ever seen that. It was only asked for twice.
And the one I saw done on replay was the hitter turns, and it could also be the pitcher and or catcher who turned, and they go, yeah, we're going to challenge that. And doesn't the umpire like turn around and point up to the video room?
You've got it right.
They tap their head, right? Something like that.
And within seconds, they're told whether or not it was a ball or a strike.
It was seamless.
And that's it. Boom. Turn around, and the umpire schedules whatever, signals whatever it was. And there you go. We move on. Well, now I understand, in theory, if a base runner is, stealing a base, and yeah, there could be problems, but you just put a rule in place. It's just like, well, if we challenge it, the guy goes back to the base, and we just, we take care of the ball and strike. We can't do everything, but we at least make sure we get the ball and the strike right. I think it's coming. I think it's coming next year. Because what do you need to make major changes when you're in dealing with unions? You got to have deals with what? The players and the umpires. What has Major League Baseball in the last year done? They've struck deals with the Players Association and the Umpires Association. And Manfred made sure he got in both. Basically, I can do whatever the hell I want. And you could vote it out next term, but I'm making these changes and we're going to see whether or not they work.
And then put the pressure on the players would never take it out. And if the umpires tried to, they'd look foolish in doing so.
Especially since they've agreed to hire more umpires, give them more time off, and give them more money. I mean, the umpires got bought off. It's as simple as that. Come on, that's how it works with us, too. All right, let's face it. We all have a price.
Mine's getting cheaper by the day.
So I'm just saying, I think you've had a good week here. Short term, long term. Things are kind of going in your favor. But the last week in Major League Baseball, there have been a lot. You could tell it's so hot. It's the dog days of summer. The season's too long. And man, are they screaming and yelling at each other.
I think it was yesterday, and it could have been Saturday, but Pittsburgh had a series with Cincinnati this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh's manager, pitching coach, and batting coach were all ejected on the same play. Think tensions are running a little hot?
The Phillies, I think, had 3 ejected on Saturday against the Twins. When Aaron Boone's out there as peacekeeper on Saturday at Lone Depot Park, so that only one of his guys on the bench is getting ejected. That's when you know things are running a little hot.
They certainly are. 21,000 is the text line, 21000 if you want to add and chime into the show. If you've never texted the show before, FSN Radio is the keyword. FSN Radio, all one word. Text that to 21,000, then you can text whenever you would like.
Do you get Andrew Brandt's free newsletter?
I do, and I did not read this week's yet.
So one of his 7 points that he made this week was he finds it interesting that in the World Cup soccer tournament, that the United States was essentially eliminated by technology. That the VAR computer, and it showed, whether it was a millimeter or whatever, but hey, they ruled that ball crossed the line and everyone accepted it. And he said, now think about it. That's a ball that did not touch the ground. That was a ball in the air. And they had the technology in place and everybody accepted that, oh, well, I guess it crossed the line. And Sweden advanced and the U.S. went home and no one complained. And he goes, and meanwhile, in the NFL, the biggest sport in our country, 20 plus billion in revenue annually. We got, and these were his words, we got 2 60-year-olds out there with a chain and 2 sticks. And we're determining plays on the goal line from guys who are 20 and 30 yards away, whether or not they can see through traffic. He goes, are we sure we can't do this better? And obviously we can. And what in the world is the NFL waiting on?
Fans love technology. There's nothing about the chain gang that makes any sense anymore. We hang our damn pictures on a wall with a laser. You don't think we can figure out a first down with something a little bit more efficient than a chain gang? Not to mention, what was it, 2 years ago, we brought the index card out?
Right. There's Gene Steratore, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, right before he retired. Whether or not it's a first down or not. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Third and final hour along the network coming up, Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call. Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock. Julius Joe Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Not that I'm aware of, Sonny.
No, and CBS has all the end of season golf until the Ryder Cup, and Bones works for NBC. Although he could, in theory, be interviewed by the Golf Channel. I don't think Bones would ever break that code, though.
I don't either.
Oh, go blue. And we all know that technology is available. They could do it. It's just remarkable that they choose not to. Has any of these spring football leagues, have they tried any technology? Because I didn't watch.
No, and I don't think it's that easy. I
Right.
think it can be done. Because now, how do you time it with like just Michigan go blue to what you're saying? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that's a start. But how do we know that when the whistle blows where the GPS is? And I'm not saying maybe it's really easy.
Also, is the football north-south? Is the football east-west? Is it this? I'm guessing if the football's north-south, it's longer away from the laces, is my guess. I don't know. Could be wrong.
I mean, I think it can be done. I just think it's, the umpire ball strike thing's easy. You got a rectangle.
10 seconds.
Right. The tennis ball's round. The soccer ball's round.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton, at least along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas. Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at 1 hour from now here on Miller and Moulton. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Miss any part of the show? Download what you missed, floridasportsnetwork.com. Also, it's your chance to sign up today and tomorrow for our Fantasy Football Summit tomorrow night in Fort Myers. Dinner and Dr. Roto. Chance to have a great fantasy draft and a great fantasy season with the wisdom that comes with Dr. Roto. Sign up, floridasportsnetwork.com. It's a story we talked about in our first hour. But, Mark, I feel, and it's an unseemly allegation and story right now. And it involves Wander Franco, the Rays 22-year-old all-star shortstop, who didn't play yesterday, left the dugout in the fifth inning, and did not travel with the team last night to San Francisco. They're going west. They're playing, 6-9 games on the road, and right now he's not with them because Major League Baseball is investigating allegations that were made on social media over the weekend that linked the 22-year-old with a 14-year-old girl. Wander Franco did an IG Live about a half an hour ago. And in it, he said, quote, "They say that I'm in public with a little girl, that I'm running around with a minor. People don't know what to do with their time. They don't know what they're talking about. That's why I prefer to be on my side and not get involved with anybody." So that's the first time we've heard from either the Rays or Wander Franco about the allegations, the story, and no one, this was out there on Saturday a little bit, but he played. And so the thought was, well, obviously nothing to this because there's no way he'd be playing if there was something to this. Well, by Sunday afternoon, he wasn't in the lineup. The Rays tried to say it was his regularly scheduled day off. Possibly. Hell of a convenience, especially since it was also Wander Franco snapback hat day at the Trop. Mark, you've been involved in the marketing department. Not that the marketing department determines the lineup, but I'll bet you the marketing department made sure that Kevin Cash and the Rays knew Sunday's Wander Franco promotion day.
Yeah, Wander plays on Wander Franco promotion day. That's just kind of the way
Right.
these things go.
I mean, if you're going to give him a day off, do it on Saturday.
Yeah, and then they try to play the regularly scheduled day off game.
Right.
And try to look at all of us like we're stupid.
Right.
That's the only thing about this. Hey, and I guess they can't. The team can't come out and say there have been allegations. Wander's not playing until we're through verifying whether or not these allegations are true.
Right. They acknowledge, they go, yes, we're aware of the story, but this was his regularly scheduled day off. This was planned.
It's a blatant lie, which is just a blatant lie.
And it's their way to buy time so they can get on the plane and leave. And they did. And so MLB is investigating. It does need to be pointed out that there was a situation involving a Tampa athlete just a few months ago. There were salacious allegations about a Lightning hockey player. And he was put on the shelf for like 5 days. It's kind of like, listen, we got to look into this. He's like, there's nothing there. I'm like, I get it. Sorry to have to do this. We got to put you on the shelf for a few days. We just got to make sure. Okay. Hope you understand. Sorry for the inconvenience. And they did. There was nothing there. He returned to the lineup. Wander Franco is basically saying that's what's going to happen here. There was a post in Spanish on the same social media where the salacious posts were. There was a post dinner time yesterday in Spanish that seemed to claim that Wander was a victim of somebody trying to get him to give them hundreds of thousands of dollars, or otherwise we're going to make these allegations against you and we're going to ruin you. And the allegation was a car and over $200,000. And most 22-year-olds in Major League Baseball are playing for close to the minimum. Well, he's in the second year of a $182 million contract, which could become a $222 million contract if the Rays pick up his option 10 years from now. And so that's why he's got a lot more money than most 22-year-old ball players do. So that's what's out there with Wander Franco and the Rays. Wander, however, a half an hour ago, taking matters into his own hands.
Which is something Miller and Moulton have always advocated.
Well, you and I would have done it yesterday. Whether the Rays suggested he leave in the fifth inning and not say anything, you and I would have either before the game.
We'd have been right there in front of microphones going, they're making me not play anymore. I did not do this.
Correct.
This is not true. This is a lie. It will be proven to be a lie.
Right. I mean, we would be debating whether or not we would be like showing up in the broadcast booth during the game. If you can't get this presser done before the game, I'm literally going to sit in between Dwayne Stats and BA. They're going to have no choice but to ask me this question. I'm going to keep interrupting them until they ask me, hey, what's up? Then I'm going to go to the radio booth right next to them. And then I'm going to hold a presser.
This is the reason why Wander Franco did not make the trip with the team to San Francisco. This is the reason that he left the game yesterday, or didn't play in the game yesterday and left the dugout yesterday in the fifth inning.
So we'll see. I mean, clearly it's a he said, she said story right now. The Rays have turned it over to Major League Baseball. They're investigating. No word on whether or not he has not been placed, as best the media can tell. He has not been placed on a restricted list. That was what the Dodgers did to Trevor Bauer 3 years ago. And when you get placed on that list, they don't have to pay you. Okay. Wander has not been placed on that. So right now, this is some paid time off while Major League Baseball investigates these claims. And do have to point out, this happened to a Lightning hockey player just a few months ago. It was not the same claims. It was different claims, but they were not good. Okay. And the hockey player was cleared. Took about 5 days. So, but obviously hope the story's not true because it's awful if it is. But you got to figure if you're the Rays, even if he can be exonerated here quickly, tough to count on him in the 3-game series against the Giants, I think it's fair to say. The best case scenario probably is the weekend.
And it's something we will keep an eye on, obviously, and let you know if any new news, like Wander Franco going to Instagram Live to give his statement about a half hour ago, and we'll keep you updated on anything that we hear here.
RCB asks in our Twitch chat room, if the allegations are true, can the Rays and MLB void the contract? Absolutely. Absolutely. If it's true, it's a felony. Yeah, absolutely the contract gets. I mean, if that contract didn't get voided, there'd never be a morals clause in a contract again. So, yeah, absolutely. Not that that's that important right now, but it's just a fact. It would get voided. Remember the Dodgers and Bauer, he had like 2.5 years left on his contract, and they basically, I think he served a year and a half where he didn't get paid, and they had to pay him for 1 year when they cut him. That was the settlement.
But this would be completely different if it's true. They would be able to void the contract, I'm guessing, effective immediately.
Absolutely, they would. Absolutely. But as of right now, there's no there, but there's a salacious allegation involving a 22-year-old athlete and a 14-year-old girl. And Wander Franco has come out to say it ain't true. And all the Rays have said is Major League Baseball is investigating, and Major League Baseball has said, we need more time. So there you have it. Daniel Wallach coming on in about 25 minutes from now. Okay, to talk about a story that, if tomorrow is the day in which you have to raise your hand to leave the ACC in order to leave it a year from now, today is the day in which the folks at Flagler there, who are suing the Seminole tribe in the state of Florida and had won every step of the way until the last step, when the Seminole tribe in Florida won in federal court, and they had 45 days to appeal. Mark, what day's today?
Day 45.
So we could have sports betting in the state of Florida here real soon if Flagler doesn't file the paperwork today.
And we could have it even if they do file the paperwork.
And that's why Daniel Wallach is going to join us. He's our legal gaming expert. He and Dan Lust have a terrific podcast called Conduct Detrimental. And Daniel's going to join us in about 25 minutes' time. Talk about what could be a historic day in the state of Florida.
Lighten things up a little bit here, David, because we've had some texts throughout the show on different things we've talked about. But someone just said, I agree with you on the more than 10 items. But if I have 3 or 4 items that are exactly the same, I will sometimes count them as one. All right. Here's the deal. If it is something by weight, if apples per se are by the pound, and you have 4 apples inside of a bag, that is one item because it is by the pound.
Correct.
If avocados are $1.05 a piece and you have 4 of them, that is 4 items.
Correct. I don't see any gray area here.
There is none. Just trying to help you out. They asked a question. We try to give an answer.
Well, we do tackle the major issues of the day, Mark.
Well, I thought after the whole Wander Franco and sports gambling, I thought we needed something maybe just to lighten things up a little bit.
Well, the 10 item or less aisle will usually do that. Although then again, I've seen some nasty tempers in the 10 item or less aisle too.
Rest in peace, Dad. Rest in peace.
I loved you, Fred.
Yogurt to the head. Miller and Moulton, Daniel Wallach in 25 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call, Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller & Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets, while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That is the most attorney thing you've ever said, MFH. That's a gross, horrible way to treat it. It's illegal. It's immoral. No one's happy. You bought 18 items.
I think he's going to win on a technicality. Okay, he's going to get, the judge is going to express his or her disgust, and then is going to say, by the letter of the law, I have no choice but to rule in his favor. And hopefully one day the Supreme Court will close this loophole.
Is BOGO 2 items or 1 item?
Wow, there's a poll question right there.
Say it's 2.
I say it's 2.
Three hours without a text. Bring this crap up, and all of a sudden we get text.
Poll question: in honor of the 10 items or less lane, comma, is BOGO 2 items or 1? Golly, that's funny.
I'd like to have the president of Publix on the show.
We'd have to do 2 segments at least.
I've got a buddy who's in the Hertz marketing department, and he's a part of big Hertz deals. And I've not had the guts yet to ask him. I go, what do you got for a little radio show?
And apparently they just made a deal with CBS. CBS has been Avis forever. And now we're having to sign up with Hertz. Can't tell you the last time I was in a Hertz car.
You get your car miles or car rewards too? Are they yours? I know the miles are. I know that's illegal to not give you miles. And
Tell you what, they're trying not to do is hotels. Hotels are starting to screw you on. They're giving it to the people booking them, not to the people staying in them.
They'll get sued. Someone will.
No, Canada Relief. No. Yeah, but OK Music, the second item goes across the scanner too. It's just that the scanner knows to not charge you for it. But it's an item.
Yeah, he's on our side. If it has to cross a scanner, it's an item.
Well, okay. I thought he was saying it's an item, meaning one. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I think he's on our side. I don't know anymore, David.
I don't know. You got anything here? I got one little funny. That's
Good.
it.
Do it.
I don't know how funny it is.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, the whole show has just come to a halt because, well, our question of the day, it's pretty serious. In honor of the 10 items or less lane, if an item is BOGO, is it one item or two?
I say it's two.
I say it's two.
They have to scan both items.
So there you go. That's where we're at. We've discussed the serious issues of the J, the Wander Franco story, the baseball pennant races, James Harden halfway across the world in China, calling the president and general manager of the Sixers a liar, and I'll never play for him again, which is funny because the Sixers just yesterday said we're not going to trade Harden. He's going to show up at training camp. Everything will work out fine. 12, 17, 24 days away from the season starting, depending on, well, what your team is and when they're playing.
A day away from our fantasy football summit.
Huh? How about that? Get you ready for your draft. And then save the notes for the season. I mean, no sense just using it for the draft. You got to know how to play these guys. Come on now. So FloridaSportsNetwork.com, there's still room for about a big table of folks. And we hope to have you sign up. It's tomorrow night, 7 o'clock in Fort Myers, Shoeless Joe Sports Cafe. Dinner and Dr. Roto is what you are signing up for. So the story's been out there for a couple of weeks. Apparently, Mark, the only state in which college football players are gambling in is Iowa.
Right.
Much like going back 8 years ago, and there was only one college football player really in the last 10 years, okay, who's done performance-enhancing drugs. He happened to be Will Grier, the starting quarterback for the Gators. Well, he's got them off to an undefeated start. They rally from 2 touchdowns down. They beat Tennessee, dramatic win. All of a sudden, we never see Will Grier again as a Florida Gator. Why? PEDs. Seriously? 210-pound quarterback? What? And he's the only guy. Honestly, name me another college football player the last 8 years suspended for PEDs. Will Grier, that's it. It's the only one we got. Apparently, there's only one state in which college kids are gambling on sports.
It's in Iowa, David, and it's an epidemic.
It is.
It's just in Iowa and Iowa State. Northern Iowa does not have this problem, by the way. It is
not at all
in Iowa State.
Not at the NAIA school in St. Ambrose, Iowa
Right.
either. No, they're not gambling either.
It's only a college football problem, not a college basketball problem at this point, David.
Right. It's not a women's college basketball. It's women don't gamble either. Okay. No, nothing on volleyball, nothing. Softball, no. So Remember, it's just the state of Iowa. Now, we do have one team in the Big Ten and one team in the Big 12. Okay. But along the lines of timing, there have been a couple of stories out late Friday and yesterday, two different media outlets claiming that the Big Ten is in negotiations to move their Big Ten championship game for at least 1 year to lost wages.
Outstanding.
So is that
when you think Big Ten country, David?
You think
Las Vegas.
Right. You certainly do, Mark.
Growing up in Saginaw, Michigan, I always related to the desert as Big Ten country.
Right. Well, it's on the way to the Rose Bowl, which, had a long, rich history and tradition with the Big Ten. So if this were to happen, and by the way, in all seriousness, for 1 second, I think it would be a mistake. And it has nothing to do with it's Vegas and gambling. Please. If you've listened to the show, okay, we're appalled at the 17 states that don't have it. Okay, honestly, just legalize it, regulate the hell out of it, tax the hell out of it, have the best damn roads, highest paid teachers in the country. That's been our policy. We were going to run for Congress on it, the whole deal. But you know how Atlanta's the destination in the SEC?
Yep.
Well, in the Big Ten, they had kind of started, the SEC title game was the first. That goes back to 92. The Big Ten title game's like, 15 years old, something like that. But where do you go, Mark?
Go to Indianapolis.
And they love it there. Love it. The city goes all in. Trust me. I was there both ends of the Big Ten championship game for Colts games. The Colts played second fiddle in the city for that week to the Big Ten title game. They did. They love the game.
And once Chicago gets a dome, they'll move it to Chicago.
Yes, they will. But until then, if you're going to play it somewhere where the city's all in. Not only that, Mark, Indianapolis, no matter where you are in the Big Ten, the exception of the West Coast. Okay. But for now, where's the convenient location, Mark?
It's Indianapolis.
Thank you.
And David, beyond that, do you want to give the West Coast teams any advantage? I'm being serious here. You're inviting 4 new teams into the conference. That's great. It helps you get more money, at least in USC's case. The other 3 we're not so sure about, but they're in, and that's the way it's going to be. And we're going to move forward with 4 more teams in the Big Ten. But do you want to give them any advantage whatsoever in your title game if they make it?
Well, Mark, I don't want to burst your bubble and be a jerk, but have you seen some of the attendance at the Pac-12 title games in Vegas? I mean, hell, they got to play it on a Friday night just to be different.
I understand, but I wouldn't be giving West Coast teams any advantage. Wouldn't make it easier on their fans.
No, come on, earn your damn freight. You came to us, remember? How about you win one of these titles once or twice, and then we'll consider it. Otherwise, you show up at them here meetings and you shut up. You get your vote. That's enough. Speaking of votes, apparently, one of the big reasons why the 4 schools voted no, they're claiming the reason Florida State and Clemson are voting no is they are furious that Notre Dame had a vote.
Yes.
Okay, that they're not a member in standing where you get a vote.
They don't play football in the conference. How the hell can they have a full vote? It makes 0 sense.
And apparently that's why they were able to get the 4 no votes. Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, NC State. Well, NC State was going to do whatever North Carolina did. And Florida State and Clemson are, joined at the hip on this one. But apparently that was a bigger issue than having to play games 3,000 miles away. Apparently that's how mad some of those schools are. What do you mean Notre Dame's got a full vote? Are they a member of the conference in football? No. Then what the hell they got to vote for?
Well, we did allude to that last week a little bit. Our team's going to vote against it just because Notre Dame's for it.
And apparently, yes. And not all of the other 11 apparently are like really for it. A couple of them were very soft and they were just like, well, okay, if this is going to pass, we'll go along with it. But the word is a couple of those schools said to North Carolina, hey, man, if you want to shoot this down, we're all for it. We're going to stay over here. We ain't going to be, we ain't going to shoot it down. But, if you want to shoot it down, that'd be great. So anyway, Vegas being talked about for a site for the Big Ten championship football game.
But Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, Washington State will not be a part of the ACC. Stanford and Cal thought they had an in, but they were voted down by the conference members before it actually became a full vote. Now, those 4 schools have hired Oliver Luck to try to do something with the Pac-4.
Right. Just doesn't seem to have a lot of meat on the bone. Who are you negotiating for? The Pac-12? No, the Pac-4. You can sit here and wait for your reservation. We had a table served waited for the Pac-12, but if you're the Pac-4, you'll have to wait, see if something opens up. Daniel Wallach to talk Florida gambling next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Had Philly really fooled this morning. I beat him to work.
You beat Felipe?
Yeah. Dog got me up 20 minutes earlier than I wanted to be.
Gotcha.
We did get Publix manager to text the show. BOGO items are 2.
Yes! Regular sports, we don't know what we're talking about. Supermarket sports, we're all over it. RCB reportedly, that's what Florida State said to Notre Dame last week. We'll vote them in if you come.
Three or four Canada relief?
Yeah, I'd say 3 at mine.
Canada relief, where are you?
Dana's on hold.
Great.
That north of Toronto, that could be 47 different cities. Vaughn. All right, now you've given me one I've not heard of. Now I got to look up. I think there was a goaltender from there that
10 seconds.
Got to remember, I was a minor league hockey broadcaster for 15 years. Most of these cities I'm aware of.
I believe so, Adam.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour is up, and it's our final segment along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. He's the legal analyst for The Athletic. He has a terrific sports law podcast that he co-hosts with Dan Lusk called Conduct Detrimental. He is a gaming and sports betting attorney. He is Daniel Wallach. Follow him on Twitter at Wallach Legal. That's Wallach, Wallach Legal. Daniel, it's David and Mark. How the heck are you?
Oh, it's been a long time, David and Mark. I think last time I spoke with you, I might have been overseas. So I'm back in the United States, and today I'm in Saratoga for a gambling conference where I'm going to be speaking about the Florida sports betting situation.
All right. Well, just throw it in underhand for you then, Daniel. What is the latest? We had talked about this before. Today, we believe, is day 45, in which Flagler and their group could file an appeal. If not, gambling could be legal again. Help us out. Where are we at today?
Sure. Wes Flagler has two more options to continue the case. Today is the deadline to file a petition for rehearing before the federal appeals court that decided the case in favor of the Seminole tribe. So in all likelihood, I can't guarantee it, but in all likelihood, they're going to file to change the result and get rehearing. But the odds on that are very long. Rehearing is a remedy that's granted so rarely that I don't expect it to have much of a chance, particularly since the decision was unanimous from 3 judges. And in order to get rehearing, you need a majority of the 11 active judges to decide to rehear the case. And since you've already lost 3 of them, 6 out of 8 isn't a very good ratio. And the court takes so few cases on rehearing. And then after that, there's the possibility of the United States Supreme Court. And Wes Flagler, I think, will file a petition with the U.S. Supreme Court 90 days after the rehearing is denied. So it's still continuing. And at this point, we don't know when sports betting will begin in Florida. A lot of it hinges on what Flagler does or does not do. If Wes Flagler bows out, sports betting could begin a week from now, because that's when the mandate is issued by the U.S. Court of Appeals will be released. So much of this hinges upon how much longer this case goes on. Once the case ends, then there's absolutely no question that sports betting can begin. But I think Wes Flagler does have a decent chance to have the U.S. Supreme Court hear the case, because there is a split among the circuit courts on the permissibility of off-reservation tribal gaming under this federal statute. So there's a long way left to go.
Okay, let's assume they're going to file the paperwork today. Do you think that then there will be an injunction and there will be no sports betting while this rehearing process, even though they're likely to lose, continues? And then in theory, we have to wait until after the Supreme Court hears this or not hears this or decides next late spring before we could potentially have legalized betting in Florida? Or do you think there's a chance that if they file the paperwork today, that the Seminole tribe in the state of Florida are allowed to move forward with the sports betting until the next step?
Well, I mean, the Court of Appeals has already said that it would not release the mandate until 7 days had elapsed following the deadline for filing rehearing or from the denial of rehearing. So this mandate doesn't act as an injunction. The Seminole tribe could do whatever they want to do, but typically litigants wait until the mandate gets issued before acting in reliance on the decision. So this is not an injunction, but I think what the Seminole tribe is waiting for is to see whether Wes Flagler files, or if they do file, when it gets denied. And that's going to happen pretty quickly in the DC Circuit. I would imagine by the middle of September, the DC Circuit will have acted on the petition and in all likelihood denied it. And by that time, you could see sports betting reemerge in Florida, because the mandate will then be issued. However, there's another possibility, which is Wes Flagler continues the battle onto the United States Supreme Court and asks the DC Circuit to retract the mandate and keep the case going. So the Seminoles have a decision to make. Do they want to obey the mandate, which is not really an injunction, or are they going to just operate regardless of whether the federal proceedings are ongoing? And just because Wes Flagler continues the case all the way to the Supreme Court, that doesn't mean that the Seminoles have an obligation to cease sports betting. They could act and launch their sports book anytime they want, but in all likelihood, they will await the conclusion of all federal appellate proceedings. And that could happen in late August, it could happen in late September, or it could happen in 2024. So much of this hinges upon how far Wes Flagler is willing to take this battle. And I suspect, and I would, if I were in their shoes, I would take it to the U.S. Supreme Court, because the decision is in conflict with a number of federal appeals court decisions from other circuits. I think they have a decent chance, but it's still an uphill battle. But as long as they're willing to wage this battle, they might successfully forestall sports betting in Florida until the case is over.
If you're a gambler in the state of Florida wanting gambling to be legalized, who are you rooting for right now, Daniel?
Well, you're rooting for the Seminole tribe, but the downside to that is that you're getting a situation where sports betting in the state is controlled by one operator. And in a monopoly situation where there's only one operator or one operator in control of everything, you're not going to get the same kind of deposit bonuses and promotions and free bets that bettors in other states typically receive when there was a more competitive marketplace. But if all you want to do is bet, if you want to bet legally, yeah, obviously you're going to root for the Seminole tribe. But that's sort of the short-term victory. But in the long term, this compact is going to last for 30 more years, and for the next 30 years, you will have a non-competitive, monopolistic, gambling environment where one company controls everything. And if you compare that to the way things are in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and other states where bettors can play their best bonuses and shop around for best odds and best, inducements, that situation isn't going to exist to that level in the state of Florida, because the Seminoles are under no economic compulsion to offer those kinds of incentives when they control the whole thing.
He's Daniel Wallach, the legal analyst for The Athletic. He and Dan Lusk host Conduct Detrimental. It is a terrific sports law podcast. You can follow Daniel on Twitter at Wallach Legal, Wallach, Wallach Legal. Daniel, it's a question that I was going to ask, but Arch in our Twitch chat room summed it up very nicely. How did three judges rule in contrary to every previous ruling on how IGRA reads? You and I and Mark have talked about this for years, okay? How in the world did this circuit court or federal court, how did they rule differently from every previous ruling since 1972?
Are you sure that I didn't submit that question? That sounds like my question. Okay, and let me put a finer point on it. Not only is it contrary to every single federal court ruling that addresses whether IGRA can apply to off-reservation tribal gaming activities, I counted through my own legal research 10 federal court of appeals decisions from 3 different circuits which hold precisely the opposite of what the D.C. Circuit held. The D.C. Circuit said that IGRA can apply to off-reservation internet tribal gaming. It doesn't authorize it, but it addresses it. I've counted 10 decisions which go the other way, which points to a split of authority among the U.S. Circuit Courts. And that's one of the most common grounds for granting relief before the United States Supreme Court. Most of the cases that get to the High Court are because of circuit splits. Here we have it in spades. So, if I'm Wes Flagler, I may be thinking, my ultimate goal is to get to the Supreme Court, because you've got a circuit split and you've got this now you have this unsettled question of law, which is how far or to what extent does IGRA apply to off-reservation statewide remote wagering where the bettor is located outside of tribal lands and the Indian tribe controls that gambling? Can IGRA apply to that activity? 10 cases have said no, led by the ICTI decision in the Ninth Circuit, Artichoke Joe's in the Ninth Circuit. This is how you get to the Supreme Court, but it's going to be months before we find out if the Supreme Court is going to entertain that petition, because in the meantime, the focus is going to be on the D.C. Circuit, where that court only looks at internal conflicts, and there really aren't as many internal conflicts within the D.C. Circuit as there are nationwide. So this case may be a poor candidate for rehearing, and I would expect that petition to be swiftly denied. But I think the calculus changes if and when Wes Flagler seeks Supreme Court review.
If Wes Flagler gets it to the Supreme Court and wins, when are we gambling in Florida?
If the Supreme Court grants certiorari, accepts the case for review, the Seminoles will not or should not operate their sports book while the Supreme Court has decided to review the case. So there may be an interim period of time after the denial of rehearing, which could happen at the end of August or mid-September. There could be a gap period between that date and when the Supreme Court, if and when the Supreme Court accepts the case, where the Seminole tribe, might be able to relaunch their sports book. But all bets are off if and when the U.S. Supreme Court actually goes forward and grants certiorari, because if the tribe continues in the face of ongoing Supreme Court consideration, that would kind of offend the court. So we could have another repeat of 2021 where the sports book launched and then got pulled back after an adverse court ruling. And if this case does go to the Supreme Court, the decision, in all likelihood, the final decision on the merits probably wouldn't occur until the first or second quarter of 2025. So if this does go all the way to SCOTUS, we could be looking at 2025 for the ultimate beginning of sports betting. And I think West Flagler would win that case, or could win that case, if it does go to SCOTUS. And if they do win that case, then we're back to square one. But I have to be a realist here. The likelihood statistically is that the Seminole tribe holds serve and prevails, because the D.C. Circuit will, in all likelihood, deny rehearing, and the odds of getting the U.S. Supreme Court to hear a case, even with these great facts, it's still, like a 5%, 10% statistical likelihood. But I think this case hits all of the boxes that the Supreme Court is looking for, which is circuit split, important question of federal law, which is unsettled, and any consistency and conflict with the court's own precedent. This checks all of the boxes, but still, even having said that, I have to recognize it is an uphill battle. And if West Flagler fails and loses rehearing and doesn't get a Supreme Court consideration, the case will come to a complete end, probably by the second quarter of 2024, leaving West Flagler with one last shot, which is in the Florida state court system, to argue that online sports betting violates the state constitutional ban against casino gaming authorization. So they've got 3 bites at the apple left, but their best shot, in my opinion, is to get to the Supreme Court. And even that's an uphill battle.
He's Daniel Wallach, the legal analyst for The Athletic. Listen to Conduct Detrimental, the terrific sports law podcast. Follow him on Twitter at Wallach Legal. Wallach Legal. Daniel, have a great conference in Saratoga. Safe travels. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. My pleasure as always, guys. Thanks again, and have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Daniel Wallach, kind enough to join us and break it all down. They could be a big day if the paperwork's not filed, baby. Sports betting will be legal in Florida, in theory, in 7 days. They file the paperwork, well, it gets messy again.
You can gamble, but you won't get all of the deposit bonuses that you're getting in other states. That is the one negative, but something is better than nothing at this point for the gambler, because otherwise you're doing it illegally.
The most disconcerting information he gave there, because he's pretty sure West Flagler has nothing to lose but to keep appealing. So he thinks they'll file the paperwork today. They'll quickly lose in 2 to 4 weeks. Then they'll ask the Supreme Court to take on the case. I figured they'd take on the case next session and they'd rule spring, summer of 24. He seems to think it won't be decided until spring, summer of 25. Yikes.
And then if they win, we're back to ground zero. We're back to a starting base, because that means there's no legal gambling, period, and it's got to start all over.
And you and I, the great legal minds that we are, with all the Law and Order and shows that we've watched over the years, for what it's worth, we did think this case was going to the Supreme Court. We just thought Florida, the Seminoles, were going to lose every step along the way, and they were going to push it to the Supreme Court.
But it turns out they've won, and now we'll figure out where this goes. Tampa Bay, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte, and Venice. We'll do it all again tomorrow, 6 a.m.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call, Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets, while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see Glover's answer to the Ryder Cup? You started thinking about the Ryder Cup about 15 minutes ago. What'd you think? Never been on it. I want to be on it. But in theory, guys, we need Flagler to win. We just need it to happen sooner than 2025.
Right. If Flagler wins, then we can have everybody doing the gambling in this state.
But if they lose, the Seminoles control it.
And then basically it'll be, will the Seminoles advertise with us or not? And if they don't, that would be a huge defeat for us.
No, Hops, we mean the gamblers. We don't mean league. We mean FanDuel, DraftKings.
Yeah.
ESPN Bet.
ESPN Bet. Right.
Hops, that's exactly the point. It's why we need Wes Flagler to win this.
That's why that 9th or 10th, circuit court decision there was not good news for shows like ours. nor the sports gambler. In theory, you wanted the, West Flagler to keep winning.
David, I was taking notes during that interview.
Okay.
Just so I got the order right and where it's going. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever done that. I don't know if I've ever taken notes during an interview outside of Lee saying I have a 40-unit play.
Yeah, the Seminoles are going to win first off, if West Flagler doesn't file the paperwork today, it's over.
They're going to file the paperwork.
But they're going to file the paperwork today. And they're going to lose quickly. And then they're going to ask the Supreme Court to hear it.
But there he said it, 5 to 10% chance of the Supreme Court taking the case.
And when they lose in 2 to 4 weeks, the likelihood is the Seminole tribe will immediately then reintroduce sports betting. And they can keep doing it until the Supreme Court says we're going to hear the case again. And then the proper procedure is you stop. That's what Wallach said.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this Monday, 12 days away from week 0, 17 days away from week 1 of the college football season kicking off, 24 days away from Lions and Chiefs and the NFL season getting underway, and really less than 36 hours away from our Fantasy Football Summit. Still room for you. Sign up, floridasportsnetwork.com, and we'll see you tomorrow night at Shoeless Joe's, Fort Myers, Bell Tower Shops, Crown Plaza. Dinner, Dr. Roto, kick you know what in your fantasy league this year. Well, that was a very informative last segment. If you missed it, you're going to want to download the last segment of our third hour of today's show on floridasportsnetwork.com. That's how you can download what you missed. Daniel Wallach, who's the legal expert for The Athletic. We've had him on the show for years. And he very simply laid out, here's where we are with the whole Seminole tribe, state of Florida, trying to change federal law, taking on the feds and West Flagler, and they got a win, which no one had ever gotten against the feds trying to change Indian gaming law before. And they got a win. And they're now in charge. And today's a big day.
David, I want to give you your props in that interview because you were able to use the word injunction properly in an interview question, and I don't know if you've ever been able to do that before. So I thought that was good. Even though there's no injunction taking place, you used it properly, and all of those LA law shows that you've watched paid off in that interview, David.
Daniel Wallach said it will act as an injunction, even though technically it's not. And that's why he did not dispute me using the phrase injunction. Correct. And Mark, you are right. It probably does go all the way back to LA law. Okay. In terms of my legal, expertise, how it was acquired, when it was acquired, etc. Okay. I mean, either that or Al Pacino in Dog Day Afternoon, and Justice for All.
Justice for All.
Al Pacino and Injustice for All. It's probably where it started, Mark. Yep. Great movie. Damn, was that movie funny? Golly.
We've had breaking news on this show today, which we don't normally have. James Harden went off on Daryl Morey, calling him a liar that he'd never play for again, not once but twice. But we have a second bit of, I don't know if it's breaking news, but I'll go with it as breaking news, David. The text line, we've made a lot out of the 10 and under item line at your local grocery store on this show. Miller and Moulton will not enter said line with 11 items. We won't do it.
Nope. I was asked to just Friday afternoon. I had 12 items. There was someone working the register at the 10 item or less. They had no one to wait on. And she said, no, you can come over. And I said, no, I can't.
And I was busted a couple of months ago with more items because balloons were over I didn't see it. I literally didn't see the 10 and under. I just saw a lane. And someone looked at me. I scooped up all my stuff. 2 people are in line like, no, that's okay. I'm like, no, it's not okay. I am so sorry. I've offended myself here.
Right. No, I have just violated international treaty. I must go now.
But the question was asked of us, David, what about BOGO items? What about a buy one, get one? How does that count in your 10 and under? I claim it's 2 items. They got to scan twice. That's 2 items. You agree?
Of course. Yes. I mean, you have to scan the second item, and then it's in the computer. It tells you, by the way, this item is now free.
But who are we? We're Miller and Moulton. We're not working at a Publix. We're not at a Winn-Dixie. We're not at a Fresh Market doing this for a living.
Right.
This gentleman on the text line is.
Uh-oh.
He says, as a Publix manager, BOGO is 2 items. Both items need to be scanned in order for the store to recoup rebates from the vendors.
God bless you, sir. God bless you for not just listening to our show and answering that question, but for the public service that you provide.
Now, if you get him to speed up in the deli area, I'd be really happy.
There's so many damn people in it, though. It's so hard.
But they're not even giving the free sample. You got to ask for the free sample. And who asks for the free sample?
Well, they
when they used to cut that piece of ham for you, David, and just say, how's this? And I'm one of those guys that wherever they slice it for the most part, that's great.
Totally.
How do you want it sliced? Thin. How's that look? Perfect.
Yep.
Let's just keep this. But they hand it to you. At that point, they give you the complimentary slice. They're done doing that. And I want the complimentary slice, but I'm not going to ask for it.
Went to Publix yesterday. I'm at the deli. I'm ahead of 4 women. They all came right after me. 2 items, meat, cheese. All right. Only 1 person working behind the deli. Okay. Because they're busy working on other big orders and what have you at the time. Eventually, 2 more people came over. And so he slices the piece of meat. And I go, he's literally, the slicer is 15 feet from me. I go, it's fine. And he holds it up. I go, fine. And literally the woman next to me is like, you don't want to see it? I go, he's a professional. It's a piece of roast beef. How bad can you screw it up? And then they all start talking amongst themselves like, he doesn't understand. He's wrong. He's a man at the deli counter. It's just, I don't even know why they allow him here.
Well, it's kind of been my line to the deli counter when they put, you ask for a half a pound and it's 0.57 and they're going to take a piece off. I'm like, I'm not an 80-year-old lady. We're fine. Whatever you put on there, I'm good with. I'm not going to complain. Can we just keep this line moving along?
I can't say it's fine, it's good quickly enough. I'm totally with you, Mark. Whether there are too many slices, not enough slices, don't care. Perfect. That's great. I'll take it. Yep.
We just got to keep this thing moving along.
Totally. It's roast beef and cheese. Come on now. This is not very complicated.
This is not IGRA gaming laws going to the Supreme Court. It is a lot more simple than that. But the IGRA gaming laws today, a big day for gambling in the state of Florida. Daniel Wallach joined us last hour. If you missed it, go to floridasportsnetwork.com to download any part of the show that you may have missed.
If for whatever reason, if Wes Flagler is willing to give up the fight, which it makes no sense why they would, to be honest with you, because then they're shut out. I mean, why would they give up the fight? It makes no sense. So they're just dragging this out as long as possible. Today's the last day for them to file the appeal. The expectation is they will file the appeal. It will get heard within the next 4 weeks. They will lose it because the same people who just ruled against them are going to be hearing their appeal. So the likelihood is, strong likelihood, they will not win. Then they will have one other federal recourse left, which is the Supreme Court. We have always thought, our esteemed legal minds here on Miller and Moulton, we have always thought this was a case because of apps and the internet. And, gambling is different now than it was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
At the end of the day, and if you missed it in what he said, the whole argument stems from what the Seminoles have contested is that if the server is on their land, then you are gambling on Indian tribal land.
Even if it's a strip mall somewhere.
Even if I'm doing it sitting right here on my phone. And that's where all of the gambling has gone, obviously, is to mobile. But it is not, this IGRA law has held true every step of the way when this has been contested in other states. And that's why when we asked the question of Daniel Wallach, he said, did I formulate that question for you? One of the things that endeared him to us is very early on, we started getting into IGRA, the Indian Gaming Regulations Act, and he stopped and went, what? You guys actually looked at, I spent 2 hours reading Indian Gaming Regulation Act laws, something I never thought I would do for hosting a sports talk show.
Mark Miller was Tom Cruise and Daniel Wallach was Renee Zellweger, and he damn near said, you had me at IGRA. You had me at IGRA. And so he's been regular on the show ever since.
But it's what it all boils down to is where these servers are. And it is the lifeblood of sports talk in so many states. It's why we pay close attention to it. Not to mention we paid pretty close attention to gambling since David and I started doing a show together. I mean, we had a Super 7 that went to a Fantastic 5. Who knows what the hell the name of it's going to be this year?
It's going to be an Elite 18. Yeah, whatever. But so we'll see what happens. And obviously, a few people are interested in this. I mean, you want to be able to place a legal bet in the state of Florida for this football season? Today could be a big day. This sucker could be legal. Hell, you might be able to place a bet on a preseason game if the paperwork doesn't get filed today. But there's a big difference. That's why, Mark, I thought your question was outstanding. If you're a sports bettor in the state of Florida, who are you rooting for? Because if the leaders who we thought would be behind the whole way, which is the Seminole tribe in the state of Florida, they're now the leaders in the clubhouse, so to speak. And they can win this sucker today. But that means that they have a monopoly on gambling for 30 years. 30 years in this state.
And we've always thought this was short-sighted of the state. And it doesn't benefit the gambler. All of those deposit credits that you see advertised for all of these different apps aren't going to happen here.
No. If you have a monopoly on gambling, why would you offer all the deals?
You may get a deal because Seminoles had a deal. I will say when they were alive for the short period of time that they were alive for in 2021, they did match your first deposit up to $50 or $100 or whatever the hell it was. But you get one. If there's 10 apps, you get 10 different deposit bonuses you're getting.
Never mind the fact that, you can get a half point difference in places. And if you have a monopoly, they don't necessarily have to be gambler friendly. Here we are. Deal with it. They could be that way if they wanted to. So we'll see what happens. And for those that want to know, listen, if you're in sports radio, period, nationwide, right? And it's not why Miller and Moulton feel this way. We felt this way. First off, we thought Florida would be one of the last 5 states to ever get it. I mean, we were shocked that this is actually moving as quickly as it is. There's 33 states that have it in territories. And the fact that we could be 34 is shocking to us because we thought we'd be 48, 49, 50.
Miller and Moulton. It's the Diamond District Bonus Hour. Brought to you by our buddies Todd and Jason over at the Diamond District. Stop by anytime and make sure you tell them that Miller and Moulton sent you.
It's time for Dr. Roto's yearly house call. Tuesday, August 15th, 7 o'clock, Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in Fort Myers. The second annual Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit, courtesy of the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. Dr. Roto will give you all the tips, secrets while answering your questions so you can win in fantasy football. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com. $50 gets you dinner, non-alcoholic drinks, and Dr. Roto. Seating is limited. Sign up at floridasportsnetwork.com today.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Going to recap some things here.
Yep.
Yeah, Krejci's not much of a surprise, though, is he? Canada relief? Yeah.
Here we go.
Nikki's.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, along with some final thoughts coming up in a little less than 20 minutes. David Sampson to join us tomorrow. Phil Steele, by the way, 8 o'clock Wednesday. We'll do 2 segments with Phil Steele. Get your questions ready. Send them our way on Wednesday. About your favorite college football team, how you think they'll do, and what have you. Phil Steele, 2 segments, 8 o'clock Wednesday here on Miller and Moulton. That's after tomorrow night. We do the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto. Think about that. David Sampson tomorrow. Dr. Roto tomorrow night. Phil Steele, 8 a.m. Wednesday. A little something for the effort here for Miller and Moulton, huh?
You know, it sounds like football season's right around the corner, David. I think we've made it.
Well, the magic numbers are down to 12, 17, and 24, Mark. I think you're right. We've had some breaking news today in the sports world. James Harden, while over in China, called the guy who's running the Philadelphia 76ers a liar, and I'm never going to play for him again. Just funny, because just yesterday he said, well, we tried to trade James, but nobody gave us an offer worth a damn, and so, well, we'll see him at training camp. I don't know. They seem to not be on the same side. So we'll see how that plays out. Usually it's the NBA star player getting what he wants, just based on past precedent. Anyway, who knows? Maybe the Miami Heat can get involved with Portland, and maybe they could work something out where, Lillard could end up in Miami, and then Harden could end up somewhere, and maybe a bunch of other teams could give Philadelphia what they want. I don't know. Oklahoma City's always good for some salary and a couple draft picks. But David Krejci retired a moment ago, joining Bergeron, so the Bruins will look very different this year. But did you hear the news coming out of Milwaukee over the weekend? We thought, listen, Oakland and Tampa Bay, those are the only 2 Major League Baseball franchises who have stadium issues, and the A's have apparently solved their issue. They're moving to Las Vegas for 2027. Of course, they don't have a place to play in 2025, 2026, and we'll see if Oakland wants to kick them out or whether they'll take them as a lame duck for 2 more years, but whatever. So the A's are taking care of their situation, and we're following the Rays. They seem to have a home in St. Pete if they still want it, and most people are hoping Tampa steps up at some point with a better deal because they think it'll be better for the fans and the franchise in the long run. But Mark, did you catch what the Brewers said publicly?
The Brewers need $500 million in stadium renovations. $500 million.
Now, apparently it's like 290. They already are, the state's already in tune for 70, and then you add the interest on the 360, and it'll end up being the number you're quoting. But yeah. So the taxpayers in Wisconsin are going to have to pay, $450 plus million here, or else the Brewers are leaving. Now, they haven't said those words, but they did say that basically, listen, because apparently there's a governor who happens to be a Democrat, for whatever that's worth, and he and the Dems pushed forth like the $290 million package. Well, the state legislatures, like Florida, it's controlled by Republicans, And the Republicans said, no, it's $300 million. No, it's way too much money. Besides, the stadium's 2000, 2001. I mean, come on. What the heck? They played in County Stadium for 50 years. What? They got to leave this one after not even 30?
Well, they don't have to leave it. It just needs renovations to the tune of around $500 million.
Right. Now, apparently the deal, it's a lease agreement, and there's something about whatever 75% of the other team stadiums have, they have to have. And then there's also a clause about the top 25%. They can ask for a couple of the things that those stadiums have. Whatever. That's the lease agreement. Well, here's the thing I don't understand. It runs through 2030. What do you mean you're going to look for a new place to play? I mean, Nashville got mentioned over the weekend. Hold on a second.
Nashville's going to have an expansion franchise before your lease runs out. I don't know how to break this to you, but trust me, there's going to be baseball played in Nashville before 2030. You can book that.
Also, don't we have a deal here? I mean, what part? I mean, come on. We've all rented. At some point in time, we've all rented. How many of you are leasing a car? Don't we have a deal? 3 years, 36,000 miles, right?
David, not only do we have a deal, but every time, because I actually, you'd write a check, David, but I actually pay every one of my lease payments for my vehicle right here on an app. And the first thing it tells me on the app is how many payments I have left. It's the very first thing it says.
Well, I got a lease agreement till 2030. What the are you guys talking about? But I have to admit, I mean, there are fan bases. There are nice fan bases. Wouldn't you? I mean, top 10 in Major League Baseball, nicest fan bases? Wouldn't Milwaukee maybe even be in the top 5? I mean, their attendance numbers have been outstanding the last 20 years when the team has not always been. Now, the team's been a lot better than most people think over the last 15 years. It really has. But I mean, their attendance numbers are terrific. Their local TV and radio numbers are outstanding. I mean, the Brewers are beloved. Got the Brewers and the Packers and the Milwaukee Bucks jump up and down and go, hey, hey. And until they got Giannis, everybody just drove right by them.
And they're still mostly driving right by him.
Right. We'll see you in April. Got to win in the spring. Don't know what to tell you. You spoiled us. Went to a finals. Had a couple deep playoff runs. Now we're expecting a lot. But, I mean, Mark, could you say that with a straight face if you were the Brewers? Could you actually mention leaving Milwaukee and mention another city's name?
David, this is an extremely difficult sell, if you know what I mean.
I mean,
and this is a really easy way to honk off a fan base that's been loyal to you for a long damn time.
Thank you. For goodness sakes, you're Bud Selig's franchise. He brought you Major League Baseball back. My goodness. Listen, I'd be for giving the Brewers the money, okay? But I could change my vote in 3 minutes. Wait a minute. You're going to break a lease and you're mentioning another city's name. Did that just come out of your mouth? Blank you. Tell you what, I'm a no. How's that sound? Good day, sir.
It would have been one thing to say they need the renovations, and you've struck a deal in which you're going to help pay for the renovations. It's right here in our lease that I get X, Y, and Z. But they threw out the relocation thing 7 years before a lease is up. That's some onions.
That's horse blank is what that is. Gotta be kidding me. You do that in Wisconsin? You did that in Wisconsin. Are you serious? They built you the stadium. It's not even 25 years old. Anybody ever been to? I don't even think it's Miller Park anymore. They got something else name on it. But anybody ever been there? That stadium's terrific. You want to go to Nash Vegas? Let me help you move. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I don't think so, Sonny.
Talk about a name that can't move with the team. Unless they move to St. Louis. There is? Oh, yeah. You're right. Timmy's 36.
Wow. Tim Tebow's closer to 40 than 30.
Only birthday that bothered me in my whole life was 26. For that reason, closer to 30 than 20.
I was not in a good mood the day I turned 30. Don't know why it bothered me. The last time a birthday bothered me.
You know,
Trying to get a lot of Twitter bots again.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The home stretch on this Monday, the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Already had a fairly newsy Monday. Significant retirement in hockey with David Krejci. James Harden calling the guy who runs the Sixers a liar. I'll never play for him again. Today is the day in which West Flagler needs to file their paperwork to continue their fight to broaden sports betting in the state of Florida. Otherwise, it's going to be Seminole Tribe and the Seminole Tribe only. Florida State, Clemson, anybody else only has till tomorrow to raise their hand and say, we're out of here. Otherwise, they're stuck in the ACC for at least 2 more years. And we got our fantasy football summit tomorrow night. So you've got, 33 hours or thereabouts to sign up. FloridaSportsNetwork.com.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Start in 1920 when the 7th Summer Games opened in Belgium, but it was the first time the Olympic oath was voiced, the doves were released to symbolize peace, and the Olympic flag is flown. Today in 1932, Brooklyn Dodgers reliever John Quinn at the age of 49 becomes the oldest pitcher to win a Major League Baseball game in a 10th inning victory over the New York Giants. Jimmy Fox hits for the cycle and records 9 RBIs today in 1933. Today in 1936, in the inaugural men's basketball competition at the Olympic Games in Berlin, the United States beats Canada for gold. Your final score, 19-8.
Well, that zone that Canada played, man, that was suffocating.
Tough. Now, this one, David, you could say it's tomorrow based on time zones. It wasn't signed till September 2nd, but Japan surrendered today in 1945. It's one of those based on time zones. Could be tomorrow. The actual date, September 2nd. So,
right.
Kind of quirky. Today in 65, I Got You, Babe by Sonny and Cher was the #1 song in the land. Today in 66, Cleveland Stadium's first rock concert. The Beatles headline. Where do you go from there?
Yeah, really.
Tough to do much better. At 35 years old, Bob Gibson no-hits the Pirates today in 1971.
His only no-no.
Lanny Watkins wins his only major in the PGA at Pebble today in 77.
That's a bet we all would have lost if you had said afterwards he's not going to win anymore.
Whew. Pete Rose becomes the at-bat record, passes Hank Aaron today in 1982. Based on the advice of Paul McCartney, who said, music publishing's a good way to go. Today in 1985, Michael Jackson buys the Beatles song catalog for $47.5 million. 10 years later, he would sell half of it to Sony for $150 million. Jeff Sluman wins the PGA today in 1988, beating David's buddy Zinger by 3.
His only major.
Nick Price wins his second PGA today in 94. Keegan Bradley wins in 2011. Justin Rose wins the first ever gold medal in the Olympics golf in Rio today in 2016. And Tyler Gilbert makes his Major League Baseball debut today in 2021 for the Diamondbacks and throws a no-no. Doc Holliday, Earl Weaver, and Mark Fidrich, all born today. Steve Martin, 78. Gary Larson did The Far Side. That was a big deal at one point. He's 73. Magic, 64. Halle Berry's 57. Still on the list?
Absolutely.
Good for you. Mike Vrabel's 48. Billy Kunis is 40, and Tim Tebow is 36 years old today.
Is he really? He's closer to 40 than 30? Oh, that's a little pain in the side right there. Man. I thought I paid very close attention. I don't believe you mentioned this. FDR signed the Social Security Act today in 35.
I did not have that.
Okay. So, kind of big deal. It's lasted 88 years. I mean, it's going to run out of money any day now, but I just, it's not like Mark and I are ever going to collect it.
I was going to say, will we ever see it?
No, hell no. But it was a good idea while it lasted.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I've got a father and daughter from Raleigh, North Carolina. Bailey Rechtenwald and her father, Mark Rechtenwald. Both graduated Friday from Clemson with 4.0 GPAs in master's degrees in public administration. And so I don't know if that counts. Great job by them. For the bad, we go to Miami, where a man who was a dog groomer was posing as a veterinarian and was arrested after performing a surgery that killed a pregnant dog. If my computer worked, I might even have a name for you, these people. There we go. But the gentleman tried to perform surgery on a dog. He was a dog groomer, not a veterinarian. Probably not a good idea. Finally, the ugly, we go to the Keys, where a Miami couple's been arrested after getting into a road rage incident early Saturday morning.
Uh-oh.
Their Ford hit a Chevy.
Well, there you go.
Right. 59-year-old Mario gets out and starts fighting the 38-year-old male from Marathon. That's when his wife pulled out her handgun and called 911. Back to your point, David. Everybody's carrying.
What did I tell you?
Fortunately, she didn't shoot the other driver, and when police arrived, they arrested the couple and took them both to jail. Looks like he got his ass kicked in the fight, too.
The Miami guy or the
Yeah.
Keys guy?
No, the Miami guy.
Oh,
The Miami guy whose wife had the gun. He lost the fight and ended up in jail.
Yeah.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, August the 14th, 2023.
Yeah, residents of the Florida Keys aren't too fond of Miamians because of how annoying and loud they are and how infectious they bring their loudness to paradise.
I just thought it was because the guy was 20 years younger.
Kind of figured that might have something to do with it as well.
But it could, I have to admit, I mean, wife had a gun. I might not have hit the guy so hard. So we got 9 baseball games tonight for what it's worth. The Marlins are hosting the Astros. 2 playoff teams. FS1 has Major League Baseball on Monday night. You think they'd broadcast Houston at Miami? No. They're in Colorado for the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. Seriously?
Are you kidding me?
No, that is not a joke.
Wow. They must be obligated to put Colorado on X number of times.
I don't care. I just violate. Listen, the Brewers want to break the lease 7 years early. If I'm Fox, I'm going, you know what? I don't care. Just cash the checks and shut up. Please. You want me to show Arizona, Colorado on a Monday night? I mean, for goodness sakes, the Rays are in San Francisco. 2 more playoff teams. I can't show that game. No Wander Franco for the Rays. He didn't make the trip. Major League Baseball investigating the salacious and then some claims about Franco, who's 22, and a 14-year-old girl. Franco came out on Instagram Live earlier this morning and said, it's garbage. There's nothing there. There was a statement from someone else on the same social media platforms that are indicting Franco last night, saying he is a victim here of people trying to extort money and gifts from him because of his celebrity. And when he wouldn't pay, they took to social media and spread this ugliness. FS1 could be in Atlanta for the Yankees and the Braves. What the heck? I mean, the Braves are the best team in baseball, and the other team's the Yankees. Unreal. So, by the way, Baltimore's in San Diego. How remarkable is that? Orioles, best record in the American League, second best record in baseball. Padres selling out every game.
And can't win 3 in a row to save their lives.
And have the 6th worst record in the National League. Unreal.
And because of the dives of all the teams in the NL, there's still only 5 games back of the 5.5, I think, back of the wild card.
Exactly. But they're the 10 seed right now. Arizona's 2.5 back. Reds and Cubs half a game back of the Marlins, who are the 6th seed tonight. Thank you very much. Both the Reds and the Cubs have tonight off. So the Marlins have a chance to consolidate their lead and be a game ahead for the 6th seed, or they'd lose and they'd fall into a 3-way tie for the final playoff spot.
If you missed any of the show, go to floridasportsnetwork.com. Download anything you may have missed. Daniel Wallach joined us in the 8 o'clock hour to give us the latest on gambling, sports gambling in the state of Florida. Big day today for the West Flagler Group, who can file an appeal or file for a rehearing of the Federal Circuit judgment that they lost. If they file for a rehearing, it is our word that they will not get the rehearing. Then they will have to file to the Supreme Court.
Of which less than 10% of appeals cases are heard. Daniel Wallach thinks this one, though, checks all the boxes and would have a good chance to be picked up by the court, considering the fact that there were 9 or 10 legal precedents against the latest ruling that the Seminole tribe in the state of Florida won. So we'll see. We could have sports betting in the state of Florida in less than 10 days. And this could drag on till the spring, summer of 2025.
And it's been dragging on since 2021 already.
By the way, I like the Astros tonight. a lot. They got the better pitcher. They got Valdez, although it's his first start after the no-no. And because remember, the Marlins had their pitching all lined up. I mean, they got a decent pitcher on the hill, Braxton Garrett, but Astros a solid favorite tonight. Marlins, that big emotional win, 2 in a row. I don't know. I like the Astros tonight. Is that degenerate gambling enough? Bet Monday Night Baseball?
I think it's a smart bet. I mean, coming back the way they did against the Yankees last night, what a great weekend for on the field. I mean, the Rays had the big comeback Saturday. The Marlins have the big comeback Sunday. Can't go away, even for a little bit.
Got Matt Olson's got 43 homers with the Braves. Over a quarter of a season left. Looks as if he'll set the all-time Atlanta record, but I mean, you know, he's on pace to seriously challenge even what Judge did last year. And remember, I mean, in theory, I guess he could set the National League record for home runs in a season, right? Oh, no, wait, all those guys who use steroids. Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. Just make it a point. That's all. Just make it a point. Every guy has hit more homers than Judge. All cheated. I'm just saying. They all cheated.
Yes, they did. And baseball knew about it.
Yep.
Didn't care.
Nope.
It didn't do anything to really try to stop them.
No, they didn't.
In fact, you would argue that they almost encouraged it because it helped bring baseball back after the 94 strike.
So that's what we got. One thing we didn't talk about today. You know, Messi scored again over the weekend.
Did they play?
Well, yes.
Then he scored.
And they won like 4-0. They're in the semifinals of this league tournament they're playing, which is funny because they're the worst team in the MLS. And now they got Messi, and they're playing an in-season tournament, and they've won every game. This isn't going to help them make the playoffs in the MLS, mind you.
They're never losing again, David.
Apparently not.
Be the longest streak of this or any other lifetime.
Well, it helps when Apple TV gets involved and the MLS changes the rules and all the other teams have to spend a certain amount, and then Inter Miami can spend whatever the hell they want.
They've already doubled their subscriptions since Messi's joined the league, which you could argue a couple of different ways.
Right, from 12 to 24. Was that snarky enough?
And now Apple TV having to learn what Netflix did a long time ago. Everybody's sharing passwords. Miller and Moulton. Have a great rest of your day. We'll do it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is